across the plains. Hope rekindles in the crimson tide, as freedom's anthem calls our names. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Fields of dreams are ripe once more. Factories hum with honest pride. Our banner waves on every shore, with courage marching by our side. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Through trials dark, we found our steel. The eagle's cry breaks through the night. In unity, our wounds now heal. We chase the dawn with fearless light. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day.
Hey, how is everybody doing today? How's it going, Dr. Jade?
Doing okay. Was away for a while. Now I'm back.
Yeah, let me say hi to everybody. Get it going, and I'm going to ask you about that. 42, what's up, brother? Hey, guys, at 42, if you haven't seen him yet, I'm pretty sure everybody here has, but there's going to be people that will watch it after the stream that never have. If you've never watched 42 and you're into history of the UK, pretty much all of Europe, if you will, but real good poet, and he's a real good historian. Check him out every Saturday night at 5:30 Eastern time, and I got the link to him down in the description, please. What's up? My brother from the same mother, Jimmy from Philly, is in the house. Simon, what's up, man? Good to see you. Great comments in the last several videos. Chris, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? How's it going? You good? My sister, Carrie Ann. Everybody, Carrie Ann is my sister from another mother. Okay. The Wheat Greatness. Good to see you, man. How you doing? Linda. Oh, how you doing, Linda? What's going on? Awesome. Glad you guys are here. So, Jade, you were off for 2 weeks. You tell us where you went and what you did. Who'd you see?
Oh, my gosh.
What'd you buy? Did you bring me anything? Go ahead.
Okay, let me gather myself here.
Sure.
Yeah, we took off. We landed in Jacksonville and hit the ground running. Drove up to Charleston same day. So we spent a couple of days in Charleston.
Right.
A couple of days in Savannah. A couple of days in St. Augustine. Then we went to a place called The Villages in northern Florida. And then a couple of days in Orlando. And then back to Jacksonville to return the rental car and come home.
Nice.
It was a bit of a whirlwind. We covered something like 1,100 miles in the car.
Wow.
And almost that much walking. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was a torture test for my new knee, but it passed.
I got to do about half of that tomorrow. I got to go 600 miles.
Oh, lovely.
Tomorrow.
Tell you a thing though.
Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. I'm a liar. It's only it's 6 hours. I'm sorry. 3 up and 3 back.
There you go.
Yeah.
No,
Sorry. 600 miles. Holy cow. Yeah. Thank God it's not 600 miles.
I'll tell you a thing though.
Sure. Go ahead.
In Charleston, we're walking and I caught my foot on a sidewalk.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. So I land, and as you can imagine, this is the first time at the track for my new knee.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
So I land.
Oh, I forgot about
and
that.
kind of semi on my side. The sidewalk ends up right below my knee. So I'm there like that, and I don't move. And I'm thinking, okay, so far so good. All right, let's wait for the wave of pain.
There you go. Science has dictated that the cement doesn't bounce. You do. Go ahead.
So I'm waiting, a couple of seconds go by, and I say, okay, this is good. This is good. We're all right. Oh, geez, Chris, I didn't know you were there. I'd have said something. But I get up, I dust myself off.
Yeah.
But, it's like, okay, you don't move, right? Because you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then, okay, my knee doesn't hurt. Nothing else hurt. The only thing that hurt were my hands when I fell. And I got up, continued the walk, and it did well. So that was my first adventure with my new knee. Yes. Yes,
Did it
Linda.
trick you? A trick
Did
knee?
it trick you? No, the trick knee was the old one. So yeah, that's what I did. And my God, we saw South Carolina is beautiful.
Yeah.
And they got trees like you've never seen.
That's where I would love to retire to someday.
Trees so tall.
Like to be your neighbor, Chris.
Yeah, the trees are just so tall. I mean, you just drive along the road and it's like, oh my God, there they are.
Yeah.
So,
well, we got a hell of a show. There's a lot going on. We're covering most of it. We got a lot of stories tonight. I'm going to start off. I'll just, as I always do, show you the headlines and what we're going to be discussing tonight. Another blowout jobs month. The U.S. economy added 115,000 jobs in April. That's twice the amount as what was expected. New York Times, Breitbart coverage of Schweizer's invisible coup, and I'll talk about that, prompts Trump's State Department to probe Mexican consulates. I've talked about this, remember? They have 59 in the United States, whereas the UK has 2. China has 2, right? Virginia's Supreme Court strikes down the redistricting push in blow to Democrats. How bad does your party have to be when your own Supreme Court says you guys cheated? You guys didn't follow the law. Nick Shirley's back at it again, and he revealed the strangest answer he got from a Cuban on his trip there. Here we go. About that science we're supposed to believe in. This is a good one. John Nolte from Breitbart, anti-Trump Indiana columnist forced to eat crow after MAGA primary triumph. The triumph was unbelievable. We'll get into it. And so it begins. Spooked by creepy Mamdani video, billionaire, he prepares to flee hostile New York City and take his jobs with him. This billionaire, I'm going to tell you something. This billionaire, when he leaves and takes his money with him, it will change the entire budget of New York. It happened in California. Was it California or? Yeah, I believe it was California. It happened there. Or no, I'm sorry. Forgive me. It was New Jersey. In New Jersey, there was one billionaire that couldn't take the taxes anymore. And he threatened to leave. Just, we don't need you. So he left. And guess what? They needed him because they had to completely reschedule their budget. So much for, well, the rich have to pay their fair share. According to the IRS, they already do. And then some. There we go.
Did you see what did you see what the socialist mayor of Seattle said?
What did he say?
She.
Doesn't matter.
She. Yeah. Well, I think she.
Yeah. What's her pronoun?
Somebody said, "Oh yeah, but the billionaires are going to leave," and she said, "Oh, the billionaires won't leave, and the ones that do, bye bye."
Yeah, she's a moron. You know who else said that? Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, and guess what? They all left. And the reason why they left is because Trump took away the SALT tax deduction.
Yeah, and
they were robbing people like you and me so that they could subsidize blue states, so that they could subsidize their rich people to not pay their taxes. They were subsidizing you and me by saying you can write off your state taxes on your federal taxes. That's what they were doing.
There's something like in New York, something like 1%. The top 1% pays like 14 or 15% of the taxes.
Oh yeah. Oh, easy.
So you don't have. I mean, that's 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know, Chris.
Downtown China.
I just said something.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. So I love this meme here. We are not nation building again. We're killing terrorists. President Trump releases 2026 counterterrorism strategy. This prick, the jackass Eric Holder. We're at the beginning of a modern Jim Crow era. Why? Because of the Save America Act. What does he say to black Trump supporters? Like Chris, what does he say to them? All right. Oh, you support modern Jim Crow? Kiss my ass, my Irish ass. All right. So Iran oil official in surprise admission, quote, fate of our refineries now at risk as U.S. blockade begins to bite. Now Trump keeps saying they're dying to get a deal, and they're saying, oh, no, we're not. And then they're bombing people. Yeah, they are, because they have no money, right? They are dying for a deal, but the problem is they can't say that out loud. They might get executed. They some who knows what would happen to them. They can't. They got to get on that. They got to up everybody on the totem pole, of the evil that they want to do to America. All right. The whole home. What's that?
So instead, they bombed the UAE.
There you go. And you know what I heard? It's not going to be our war. The UAE with Saudi, even though Saudi said you can't, they just told us we can't fly over their airspace. All right. But I believe Saudi and the UAE are going to team up and are going after Iran after we did all the hard work.
Yeah, that's what we need. We do not need to be in there.
Right. Trump never wanted to be in that war. All right. So
we need to be on the ground.
The Hochul-Homan war ramps up as ICE prepares to flood New York City. Now, you thought Minneapolis was going to be bad. Wait till we hit New York City. It's going to be, I'm going to do so many videos. All right. Now, you guys across the swamp, I know you guys don't like Farage, but about it, Farage's Reform UK storms to historic gains in local elections. We'll talk about it. 40, if you want to come on, I'll give you the link. And Labor got obliterated. Indiana primary bloodbath. That's what we're going to talk about. Anti-Trump rhino who got slaughtered lashes out. You can't do it. Whatever he said. The Washington Post. Did WAPO just admit voter fraud exists and illegals are destroying our elections? Yeah, they did. Proof that liberals make the crappiest parents on earth. That's going to be a good one. Liberals are already pushing masks for the Hanta virus. Is it Hanta or Hanta? I think it's Hanta virus. Hanta? Okay, whatever. CNN's Enton. It's a myth that Trump is losing support among Republicans. Absolutely, we know it. You go on Facebook, you'd never know it because the lib nuts are out there. Well, you would know it if you took it in stride and said, this is why they're going nuts. Like trashing Trump, saying that to MAGA people, you guys are all giving up on Trump. We're like, what are you, an idiot? What the F is in the water out there? This is submission. California considers declaring Muslim holy days as holidays. They want the votes. Think about it. I'm sorry, guys. If you're Muslim in here, we love you. But you know what? We don't love your freaking religion. Because Islam is not compatible with America. It's not. It's not compatible with Europe. It's not compatible with China. It's not compatible anywhere except in your human sandbox in the Middle East. That's it. So for Gavin Newis to consider that, holy crap. Throw on your apron. EBT recipients complain new reforms are turning them into Betty Crocker. Remember that woman we played a video, Jade, of, and she was like, you ain't taking away my snacks. When Trump said, look, you got to eat whole foods. We're not going to have taxpayer money go to you so you can buy crap and then you'll be sick. And then we got to pay for your medical bills and all that. You got to eat whole food. That's going to be good. The AI Grim Reaper just came for Coinbase. I got out of Coinbase. I went over to Binance. Trump's bet on American manufacturing is paying off big time. We'll get into that story. That's a good one. The Biden DOJ in cahoots with SPLC as it funded extremist groups. Now, who didn't see that one coming?
I'm going to say, this is my surprised face.
I know. It only took 2 weeks for the truth to come out. Of course they were on it. Just like all those freaking local and state lawfare against Trump, we caught each and every one of them. We caught them sneaking into the White House so they can get instructions from the Biden admin.
Yeah, and you
Not
know
from
how
Joe,
Biden was behind it?
Yeah, of course.
They were
Of course
trashing Trump.
Right.
And he was behind anybody who was trashing Trump.
Trump halts Colorado AI law after First Amendment challenge. We'll go over that. Evan Altman, voting rights organizer for the ACLU, which stands for American Criminal Liberties Union of Kansas and former member of the National Democrat Training Committee, arrested on child pornography charges. Of course.
That's funny.
Because if he has to do training for Democrats, why not, right? An ACLU organizer. All right. St. Paul's new illegal alien mayor vows to fight ICE. She's an illegal alien, and the dumbasses hired her as mayor. Think about that. Let it sweep in. Illegal alien. The dumbasses in St. Paul, in Minnesota, elected her as their mayor.
Let that percolate through your thoughts.
I know. Think about it. Not even supposed to be here. Can you imagine when ICE goes into St. Paul and says, come on, let's go. You're getting deported. I'm the mayor. Not anymore. You're not. All right. Rubio is dominating a White House brief, sparks 2028 chatter. All the polls now, and I think it's because he's more visible. He's a better talker than JD in that JD can be funny. JD knows policy and knows how to explain it and knows how to bust balls, but Marco's just better at it. You know, I would like to see JD and Marco ticket and have them continue what Trump's doing now, and then after those 8 years, have Marco go for 8 years. That's a long shot, but I would love to see that. But Marco may be the ticket,
and Marco be president with the guy who's going to be the next governor of Florida, Donalds.
Right? Oh, I hope so. What's up, Ludwig? Good to see you, Commander. There you go. Good to see you, brother. Luigi, how you doing, man? Retired Dr. J. Let's see. Who else did I miss? I'm sorry if I did. I like to grab everybody. Yeah, I think I got everybody. Okay, cool. And let's go. It's time for a change. Nightmare brewing for Hakeem Jeffries as he could be out after facing heat from Dems ahead of midterms because he's doing really stupid stuff. I mean, really stupid stuff. Here we go. A judge was just announced in fired FBI Director James Comey's case, and this is unbelievable.
I hope they just throw the book at him.
He's going to. This judge will. That's why his look is like that. There's Barack picking his nose. This is dangerous. Barack Obama loses it after Trump's Department of Justice informs him that a president has broad authority amid his criticism. It's just that lovely cup that you all could buy. Here we go. Supreme Court smacks down rogue judges. Woke judges learn their punishment. We'll get into that because Roberts warned them multiple times.
One word.
Yeah.
It's about time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a 3-letter word. Jobs. Jobs. Remember when Biden said that? I don't know, man. People went, yeah, 3-letter word.
Or Ilhan Omar this week talking about World War XI.
World War XI. Was that not funny as hell? What a moron. World War XI. Like you don't even have to be an American to know, because there were other countries involved, right?
That's why it was called a world war.
Yeah.
But for anybody who didn't see the video, she's there reading from a script, blah, 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 blah.
We can find it.
World War XI.
Yeah, she said where World War XI came, and nobody went.
And then she went, oh, excuse me. Yeah.
Do you know what it is? You know what it is? Democrats have become, like in the old days, right? Democrats and Republicans, they hired these, I wouldn't call them pages, but they hired these people like assistants that were in, they're young, but they've been in DC long enough to know what the protocols are for everything. There's literally like jobs for those people. Democrats are so effing arrogant that they think they don't need them. Now I'm right all the time. The press always says so. You know, I gotta be right. And so like Barack, when he said Army corpsman and he said his name instead of Corpsman, Army Corpsman, and you're like, dude, you're the commander in chief. You should know that the P and the S are silent. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So they don't have anybody like, and they don't practice their speech in front of anybody. All they had to do is the speech in front of one person. It's not World War XI. It's World War II. Nope. No. The Democratic Party is dead. Long live the Jacobins. I love to use that word over here, and the libnuts over this side of the pond. They go, the what? DeSantis shreds Obama for accusing Trump of weaponizing DOJ against enemies. Quote, Russian collusion hoax would like a word. That's going to be good. Here we go. Fani Willis refuses to reveal how much taxpayer cash she spent on anti-Trump crusade. You know why? Because part of that, she took her lover, not her husband. She took him on cruises with that money. She paid him back like $30,000 or something for putting something on. And people are like, who has $30,000 just hanging around that you can throw? She goes, I do. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. So watch. Tennessee Democrat state senator stands on a desk. It's a very short video, but it says a lot. Stands on a desk, fights with sergeant at arms after Republicans pass new congressional map eliminating Dem district. All right. Republicans, this is the good news. Republicans set to blast or best Democrats in mid-decade redistricting war. Now, the libs, I was fighting with them today on Facebook, and they were all saying, oh, you dumbasses, you're going to lose because you guys started with Texas. And I'm like, no, asshole, they started it in New York. They didn't start it in Texas. I said, at least Texas did it legally, whereas New York, Kathy Hochul, they have a commission, just like Gavin Newsom out in Cali. They box themselves in, these Democrats, because they were virtually saying, oh, we created a commission. It's independent. We can't touch it. They're the ones in charge of redistricting. And when they said, no, we're not going to do it, they went, screw you then. We're going to do it anyway. So they broke their own laws.
It's not just New York. It's the whole of New England.
Yeah.
You know how many Republican congressmen there are from Massachusetts?
No, we do not, Linda.
You know how many Republican Congress
Zero.
Zero. Trump
There's a list out there, Jay. There's a list that says like this state, 46% Republicans, zero elected. Zero in the House. Yeah, like it goes down. It's amazing.
The whole of New England.
And you know why? You know why, right? Because they gerrymandered.
Yeah. So Texas didn't start it. Even California.
Sunday.
California. Trump got like 40+% of the vote. He's got 20% Republican congressmen.
Yeah, it isn't. Start a business, brother. Start a business. I'll talk to you about it.
Did you catch that?
No, I'm sorry. I was talking to Chris.
California. Trump got like 40% of the vote. They have 20% of their congressmen Republican.
Yeah, and they're all in the rural areas.
Yeah, and that was and people like, I think Rhode Island has 1, Connecticut has 0.
Oh, I don't know. Hang on, I may have that meme.
Actually, have that list, please.
When I see a good meme, I steal it, but I always tell the person I'm going to steal it.
I really want you to send me that list if you find it.
Yeah, I think I do. I think I have it right here. Hold on, give me a sec. Is that it? No, that's the one that says.
Never mind.
So you're in a cult, right? And it goes down. Everything the Democrats do. That's what.
Question: do you want to see that Ilhan Omar comment real quick, or wait to the end?
Well, wait until when I'm done reading these, then put it up.
Okay.
Trump charged lunatic Jeffries with inciting violence in press gala attack. Jeffries incited violence, right? Wouldn't that be wonderful if they really did? Now he'll claim he has congressional immunity, which he does, so he can't be taken out of Congress. They can charge him afterwards because that immunity just says during the time where the Congress is in session, you can't touch me. Afterwards, they can. I believe so for most crimes.
And it's not that absolute, but yeah.
Yeah. So, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is now the favorite to succeed President Trump. It's different from the other one. That's why I put it up. In phone call with Commissioner Ursula von der Leyen, Trump gave the EU until 4th of July to fulfill historic trade deal and cut tariffs to 0 or face high-level U.S. tariffs. And she's probably hoping that some wackadoodle judge in the United States will say he can't, and he'll do it anyway because he was told by the Supreme Court, ignore those because they have nothing to do with it. The maps are moving. How a Supreme Court ruling turned the 2026 House race into a Republican offensive, and that's why he's going to go. Here we go. The UN climate panel quietly admits its doomsday climate scenarios were completely implausible. Gosh, it only took them all these years. War. 13 D.C. officials were just handed pink slips for lying to make Trump look bad. Imagine, yeah, they fired him because they lied. And see, in D.C., when you work in the federal government, if you get caught lying, you're fired, especially in the FBI. I don't think this is FBI, but especially in the FBI. Because in the FBI, they say, like, that's the first thing they teach you in Quantico. If you ever get caught lying, your job is over because you're useless to us. Now, why? Because you can't go on a stand and testify against anybody because the defense lawyer will say, well, didn't you get caught lying for that? Ah, yeah, so your credibility's out the window. You're gone. And that's why they were able to get rid of McCabe. Andy McCabe, during the whole Operation Crossfire Hurricane, they fired him, but and it was like 5 days before his pension. And he lost it.
Oh, I remember that.
Because he lied. But then Jeff Sessions fired him. But then warm diarrhea brains Joe Biden brought him back and gave him back pay. Can you believe this?
I remember that too.
Here you go. Federal judge rules that DOJ can keep 2020 election ballots seized from Georgia's Fulton County. Yes, because it was a federal election. DNI Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard, spurs probe into evidence Congress Trump were misled on election security, memos show. And then we have at the top, we have a bunch of videos this week that we're going to go on the bottom and a bunch of stories there. So did you put it up?
I put it up. Share my screen.
You did. Okay. Let me see. Add to stage. All right. Wait. I said add to stage.
You probably have to take this one down first.
No, it isn't. Yeah, I think so. There we go. All right.
There we go.
Make it large. If you can.
The last time the Alien Enemies Act was invoked, it was used to detain and deport German, Japanese, Italian immigrants during World War XI.
World War XI. Wow.
That's it, folks. That's it.
You got to love it. It was worth it. Bobbity, what's going on, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Awesome. The gang's here.
In case anybody wondered whether Ilhan Omar was truly a moron.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, now it's out. Okay, here we go. So another blowout jobs month. This happened with Reagan, okay? He had a disaster known as that Democratic Party prank, President Jimmy Carter, who hit the country. And so it took a year for his policies to kick in, right? So that's what happened to Trump, right? He had the Democratic Party prank known as President Joe Biden, who fucked up our economy. And so it took him a year for all his dealings. And he did all that before he got into foreign policy. All right. And so they're taking off. So the theme this week is that, yeah, Trump's policies are actually kicking in. And it's the best time, as Jade said to me prior to the show, it's the best time for it to happen. And it is.
Yeah, we need good second quarter numbers.
Oh, yeah. Everything's coming to fruition.
That's what we need, because third quarter is too late. You need good second quarter numbers.
Right. Another blowout jobs month. U.S. economy had 115,000 jobs in April.
Story up?
2 times as many. I did. It's there.
It's not up.
Yeah, it is. Hold on. Oh, it isn't. I said it was up. Hold on. You know why? There, because I had to remove it earlier for your video. It was your fault. No, I'm kidding.
No, it's my fault.
So another blowout jobs month. The U.S. economy added 115,000 jobs in April. By the way, thank you. 2 times as many as expected. The U.S. economy added 115,000 jobs in April, and the unemployment rate held steady at 4.3%, indicating an economy that has continued to accelerate. And that's with Trump not doing what Democrats do and using the U6 instead. He's using the real unemployment numbers. I looked into that. Economists had forecast the economy would add 55,000 workers, according to the Wall Street Journal, and the unemployment rate would remain unchanged. The estimate, let me make it bigger for my old eyes. The estimate for February was revised down by 23,000 to a loss of 156,000. The March rebound, however, was revised up by 7,000 and a gain of 178,000 to 185,000. The labor market has been volatile, with some months showing big expansions in payrolls and others showing job losses as the economy has adjusted to a slower growth in the labor supply. April, and think about it, guys, all the manufacturing plants that we're having built here, they will be built by third quarter. So they're going to start hiring in second quarter, right? So April marks the first back-to-back monthly gain in around a year, right? Because all the chaos was over, took a year to get in place. Now it's starting. We're starting to see. Not saying it's great yet, but it's better than it was. All right. Once again, the private sector was the driver of job growth, which is how it should be. Under Biden, it was the federal government that was the driver of job growth because they could hire anybody they want. They have unlimited funds to do that. Us. The private sector's payrolls expanded by 123,000. From a year ago, private sector employment is up by more than 500,000. Reflecting President Donald Trump's efforts to reprivatize the U.S. economy, public employment declined by 8,000. State and local payrolls inched up, while federal government payrolls shrank by 9,000. Since reaching a peak under Joe Biden, federal government employment is down by 348,000, or 11.5%. It's just, I don't care who you are. It's just not right when your government is the largest employer. Jimmy, you can't see this? It's on the screen. Everybody else can see it, right? The story?
Yeah, it's broadcasting.
Yeah, it's there. All right. Healthcare and social assistance expanded by 53,900 jobs. Once again, coming in as the fastest growing. Healthcare added 37,000 jobs. Social assistance. Ugh. Durable goods manufacturing expanded by 2,000 jobs, and the non-durable goods manufacturing contracted by 4,000. Tech employment continued to decline, likely reflecting the influence of artificial intelligence. In April, payrolls shrank by 13,000. Information employment is down by 342,000, or 11%, since its most recent peak in November 2022, because AI is getting rid of people. Hollywood's strugglers continued to weigh on jobs. Motion picture and sound recording business shed 6,000 jobs in April. Do we care, Jade? I don't think so.
Motion pictures, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Hollywood. Transportation and warehousing employment increased by 30,000 in April, but is still below the February 2025 peak. So, in other words, we don't have to read the rest. In other words, it's starting. Jobs are starting to kick in. What do you think?
I think we're going to have, hopefully, the second quarter numbers that we need.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see.
That's what
you got a black screen. Jimmy, reboot.
Yeah, reboot.
Reboot or close the browser and reopen it. They stole your screen. All right, so let's go to the next one.
Government bastards, they'll steal anything from you.
Yeah.
Now, you see, we all know that the government is going to be the largest employer in a country. It's kind of part of the deal. But when an administration uses government jobs to pad the employment figures by hiring for, let's just say, no particularly existent positions other than
excuse me.
No hiring people for no particular existing positions just to get people, just to say that there were more people hired that month. And they did that.
Yeah, that's what they did. Oh, yeah, they did that all the time.
And just to get better employment numbers.
Obama used the U6 around the 2012 reelection campaign because the story came out that no U.S. president was ever reelected with 8% unemployment. And Obama had 8.3, if you remember. So he used the U6 to cut it down to 7.8 or something, right? The U6, that's it's the chart of unemployment. U6 was you remove the people who have been unemployed for over 2 years. They can't find a job in 2 years, okay? That way you have a lot less people, therefore the unemployment rate is lower, all right? But he lied. In other words, he fixed it. I know so many people have lost their jobs in the last 3 months. Yeah, what to, though? What to, AI? I don't know. See, in my industry, It truly is. You're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to the guy who's using AI if you don't. That's what you're going to do. That's true.
And that's very true, because AI can't be left alone. It needs to be babysat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you put guardrails in and all that. Yeah.
No. But if you don't review the product that it puts out before you submit your report.
No, there's a lot that's that inside there's things called guardrails that we write, and the guardrails don't allow it to go out. But yeah, I see what you're saying. But
no, because they put out stuff like question, where was the Ford Model A built?
That's not the AI I'm talking about. That's the AI of like ChatGPT when you go and ask questions. Yeah, it gets it wrong because it's called hallucinations. They call that hallucinations, right?
Yes.
But or as Rush would have said, hallucinations, right? And so what I'm talking about is internal AI, which is nothing. It's not at all like that AI. So I'm talking about businesses like we're using it, where you have your data is manipulated, it's calculated, it's whatever you want to aid it do it, and you have AI do it, but you give AI the ability, you create agents, and the AI has the ability to work on its own without having to wait for you. It talks to another agent, they collaborate together, but you put guardrails on. In other words, you say, don't delete any data without asking for permission. And it'll go, okay.
But if you send AI out in the world to look for information,
right?
I mean, they have this. The AIs, all of them, have this tendency to want to please you. So they'll go out and look for information, and they may find something on a Reddit thread from 3 years ago,
right?
And they'll hook onto that, and they will prioritize that over the peer-reviewed article that
right. And if you put a guardrail in and say you're not allowed to look at Reddit, guess what? It's not going to look at Reddit.
Yeah. You have to say.
That's what I'm saying. You have to write guardrails in.
You use only recognized peer-reviewed articles, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it can certainly help people do their job, but you need to review its product before you submit it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, ready? This is going to be great.
Carry on.
Yeah. Virginia Supreme Court strikes down redistricting push in a blow to Democrats. This is it. There we go. They were so freaking smug. I'm sorry. I'm chewing something. I apologize. The Virginia Supreme Court, it's a Pine Brothers. I love Pine Brothers cough drops. I eat them like candy, which I shouldn't do. The Virginia Supreme Court on Friday struck down an April ballot measure, effectively blocking Democrats from redrawing a more friendly Congress. Yeah, friendly. It was what is it, 10-2? I think it was
10-1.
10-1 it was? All right. Voters approved the redistricting referendum in April. It was expected, but they weren't supposed to, because they had to have a second assembly vote after 90 days, and they didn't want to wait the 90 days.
Well, they could do the approval, but then they had to go through another election and do it again.
Well, wait. They approved it, but then they had, by their own law, they had to go through an assembly vote, meaning they had to be able to debate it. They had to wait 90 days, and then they could vote again. Then they could let the public vote yay or nay. They didn't do that.
There had to be a state election in the meantime. In there.
Yes, and they didn't do it. They didn't follow it. So guess what? Doesn't work. And see, the same judge that shot this down, that's why I went to the Supreme Court, because the same judge, this last time that he said you didn't follow the rules, it's null and void, that was the third time he made that same ruling on them throughout the whole process. He said, you're not doing it right. Do it right. This is rejected. I'm putting a stop to it. They said, screw you, we're going ahead anyway. In other words, this is what Democrats do. They say Donald Trump and the Republicans want to rewrite all the rules and they don't want to live by the rulings. Donald Trump has lived by every single ruling, even ridiculous ones by that Boasberg. He's lived by them, right? Joe Biden gives a double barrel middle finger to the Supreme Court, right? These a-holes, they say, no, we're not going to listen to you. So it had to go to the Virginia Supreme Court. They weren't listening to it. Even this third time, they were saying, "No, we reject you. You're not a real judge. We're going to go." That's what they did.
Yeah, right. What do they expect? Right now, it's 6 representatives Democrat, 5 representatives Republican.
It'll be 10-1. I thought it was 10-2.
No, 10-1.
10-1.
But the 6-5 pretty much represents the balance.
Yeah, because North Virginia, that's why.
Yeah, because that basically reflects close to what Trump got in the election. And the other thing, in that vote, in that ballot measure, they only won by less than 0.5%.
Right. Well,
so they're going to take a ballot measure that was approved by less than 0.5% and turn it into a 10-to-1 advantage for Democrats in Virginia.
Here's another thing that's working right now. It's a phrase that's saying, make DC square again. Because in our Constitution, it literally says 10 by 10 by 10, 10 square, 10 miles by 10 miles by 10 miles by 10 miles is a district. They chose Virginia for the district, okay? That meant that Maryland and Virginia gave land so that they could make that 10 by 10 by 10, okay? Some years later, Virginia said, nah, we're taking it back. So it's no longer a square, which means it's not a real district if you want to get technical with the Constitution, right? They're in a crisis. So if we bring that land back, guess where it is? Northern Virginia, Democrat town. If that goes back to DC, guess what?
We'll put all the Democrat votes into the pot
in DC, and they can't vote because it's not a state.
They don't even vote.
And all that shit that Jeffries was talking, and see, that's why they got rid of. They want to get rid of Jeffries because he was talking shit about we're gonna pack the court. Yeah, only losers do that, right? When you can't get something passed legislatively, you try to get rogue court judges to do it for you, and that's what he was saying. Then, in other words, think about this. They said that in the redistricting effort that Texas was doing, Jeffries literally said Texas is trying to rig the elections. The Republicans are trying to rig the election. He just came out like Carville, the Raging Cajun, and said, "Oh, we're going to pack the Supreme Court. We're going to get rid of the filibuster, right? We're going to give amnesty to everyone, right? We're going to make DC and Puerto Rico a state. Puerto Rico doesn't want to become a state. Why would they? They would pay more taxes, all right? DC can't be a state. This freaking moron wants to be the Speaker of the House, and he doesn't know that DC cannot ever be a state because it's a district. Can't make it a state, right? And so they're all like, this guy's an idiot. We got to get rid of him and get somebody else in there. So let's get on with it.
And you forgot one other priority is to put Trump in jail.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, why not, right? You know what will happen there? Trump will have to pardon himself for the federal level when he's done. He has to. And his whole cabinet. He has to. Because they're going to go after him, right? And he's doing nothing. He's not breaking any laws, right? Except in the minds of libnuts who don't know any better, right? So for the state level, he'll live in Florida, and Florida's not going to go after him. That's a red state. You can't, and they're not going to give jurisdiction over to any other one of these crackpot blue states, to go after him. It's not going to happen. The Virginia Supreme Court, and you know what kills me? These Democrats got the unbelievable balls to do stuff like that, to go after a sitting president or a former president like that. It's just unreal. Yeah, I don't think Trump's going to go after Obama, and he should. There's crystal clear proof, even if the statute runs out, because he doesn't have immunity. Okay, contrary to what the libnuts said, the Supreme Court did not give a president immunity for anything. You can't claim presidential immunity if you committed a freaking treasonous crime, which he did. He committed crimes. So even if it's just to embarrass the shit out of him, right? Make him look like the scumbag that he is. I say do it. Karma's a bitch. I dated Karma twice. She was a bitch. Trust me. Virginia Supreme Court,
especially if you marry her.
Yeah. The Virginia Supreme Court on Friday struck down the state's recently passed redistricting referendum, dealing a massive blow to Democrats who hope to gain several seats from new House maps. The redistricting ballot measure passed by 3 percentage points in late April in what was seen at the time as a major win for Democrats, who stood to gain as many as 4 seats from redrawn maps ahead of November midterm. The Virginia Supreme Court comes amid an ongoing partisan gerrymandering war, and as Republican-led states across the South are working to redraw their House districts after a pivotal Supreme Court decision that weakened part of the Voting Rights Act. It didn't weaken it. Oh my God. It's not written right, CNBC.
You mean they took the racism out of the act?
Right, exactly. You take the racism out, and you know what? All these Democrats are saying it's racist what they're doing. No, they're ending the racist practices of the Democrats who misread the Gingles case, Thornburg v. Gingles in 1986, which talked about Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. And they said, it gives us that majority-minority districts. So they got districts that look like a fucking Rorschach test.
Yeah,
right?
Did you know that they changed the definition of racism if you look in the dictionary?
Yeah, what is it?
Changed it. Well,
is this a joke or are you being serious?
No, I am being dead serious.
All right, go ahead.
They changed the definition of racism in a modern dictionary. It refers to acts against minority groups. If you pick up an old dictionary, it just refers to acts based on gender, race.
Well, race.
Racism based on race.
It's basically believing that a race is inferior to another race.
Yeah, there you go. That's
the Democratic Party.
But the modern definition is acts against a minority group, race.
I thought the modern definition was anyone who disagrees with a minority.
Anybody who disagrees with the Democrats is a racist. You know that?
Yeah, that's what they say. Okay. So it didn't weaken the Voting Rights Act. It actually took a weapon out of it because it was never intended to be that way. Quote, we respect the court, but we will keep fighting for a democracy. We don't live in the fucking democracy where voters, not politicians, have a final say. Well, voters didn't have a final say. Listen to this Jacobin, this idiot. The Democratic Party foisted Kamala Harris onto their party without a single primary vote. Democracy, really? In a basic democratic principle is you have the right, you get to vote for who you want to represent you. They didn't get that right. There was no primary for Kamala. They just shoved her ass in there because she owned the money. It was Biden Harris. So her name was on it. Biden was out. Right? He was watching reruns of Matlock while they give him a handful of grapes, right? That's what his day was like, right? So screw that. I'm tired of hearing these people, yeah, we belong, because in Virginia, power still belongs to the people. Oh, really? Well, guess what? You just got shut down.
Yeah, and they had to put they had to put Kamala in there because as the running mate, she was the only one who had access to the funds.
That's what I just said. She had the money. It was all that. That's what I just said. Her name was on the ticket. And so and Biden was out, so she controlled it. And she told them, no, I ain't giving you the money. Because if she did, they would have threw someone else in there.
Yeah, and they ended up blowing it all anyway and leaving the DNC and like $20 million in the hole.
And they were saying that she didn't get a single delegate during the primary in 2020. And the reason why, and you heard that all those people were leaving, her staffers were quitting on her. They said, wow, it's because she's a bitch. Well, you know what it was? Really, like she is a bitch and they didn't like her, but they still wanted a job, right? What really happened was they said she was spending money so much on things that you really like. She spent like $30,000 on a pearl necklace because she wanted to look good when she did campaign ads, right? Really? So that's what she did. And they were like, look, you're running out of money. So when it hit the primary, the primary, I'm sorry, not the primary. When it hit the debates, right? The primary debate, she had no money to run campaigns because she spent it all on frivolous stuff like that. She had no idea what she was doing.
And you know what? $30,000 pearl necklace for pictures. When you could probably pick one up for $5 and you couldn't tell the difference in a picture.
And she got to keep it. That's why. President Donald Trump. What?
Yeah, that's why she kept it.
She kept it. Yeah. President Donald Trump, who has urged Republican-led states to draw more favorable maps in an attempt to hold a slim House majority, celebrated the decision while Democrats vowed to assess their options. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Huge win for the Republican Party and America in Virginia. The Virginia Supreme Court has just struck down the Democrats' horrible gerrymander, Make America Great Again. Now, the thing about it is the Republicans did their redistricting, their gerrymandering, but they did it legally. They followed the law. Hochul didn't. She went around the commission. Gavin Newsom didn't. They just put in California. They just put that commission in, right? We have an independent commission. Kiss our ass, you know. They're going to virtue signal over it.
And they got Prop 50 passed.
Yeah, and so the minute that it comes to a test, Newsom goes to them and says, "Look, you got to redistrict because look what Texas is doing." They're like, "No, we're not going to." "No, you have to." "No, I don't have to. We're an independent commission, and we don't think it's right." Right? Think about it. So he goes, "Well, screw you." So he puts up this ballot initiative to say that they should, and I think he lost that. Did he lose? I think he lost that as well. And so he said, "Screw it. We're just going to do it." They don't follow law. They say Trump is out there breaking the law, and he never does. The court ruled that the state proposed a constitutional amendment to allow partisan gerrymandering in an unprecedented manner. They did the unprecedented because they didn't have time to do it the right way. Because after a certain amount of time, you're going to be behind if you can't push. Because if you're going to gerrymander and get those seats, you got to come up with all the campaigning. You got to put candidates up. It's a lot of time. They wanted to do it quickly. Quote, "This violation irreparably undermines the integrity of the resulting referendum vote and renders it null and void." Hallelujah. There is a God, people. The decision gives Republicans a decisive edge in the redistricting wars and could nullify Democrats' advantage going into the 2026 midterm elections. Without Virginia's redraw, redistricting efforts in the last year could give Republicans as much as a 12-seat edge over Democrats, unless they cheat. According to an analysis by Issue 1, a bipartisan group that seeks to reduce the influence of money in politics. Quote, "The Virginia Supreme Court has affirmed what we believed from the beginning. The hastily drawn, egregious gerrymander was unconstitutional. This ruling is a victory for democracy and ensures Virginians have fair representation in Congress." What Mike Johnson said. And he's right. We don't need to read anymore. But he's absolutely right. They didn't follow their own damn rules. And a month, local elections are up. Looking through the ballot, it's just a bunch of Democrats and shit heels. What a waste. Exactly. Yeah, China does even worse, isn't it? Up there. Yeah, it's like the Soviet Politburo up there. It's starting to be. And I mean, they are killing people already. They just try to make it look like it's a medical reason to kill them. And I'm going to put this video up. This is, what's his name? Stephen Miller. He slams Minnesota fraud case. You ready?
What's important for
Wait.
Americans to understand about how pervasive
it's as loud as it gets.
Fraud is. All of our systems were set up and established for a high trust society. I think that most citizens probably assume that there's some verification process that takes place for the receipt of most federal benefits. The reality is that there is not. This is particularly true in blue states, willfully true in blue states, in which all of these programs are operated entirely on the system. No verification takes place before individuals are enrolled in or receive these benefits. So as a simple example, if you're a Somali refugee living in Minnesota, you could lie about how many children you have. You could lie about what your immigration status is. You could lie about your marital status. Yep. You could lie about childcare. You could lie about disability. You could lie about all these things and many more. And nobody in the state of Minnesota would validate any of these facts.
That's right.
For writing you a check. We at the federal government are simply sent a bill from the state of Minnesota for the cost of providing these services in the aggregate. So to take the food stamp program as an example, SNAP, and that of course is administered by Secretary Rollins, we do not know the names of any SNAP recipient in the state of Minnesota. We just get a blank check.
Can you imagine it?
The state repeatedly and tried to compel the state unsuccessfully to turn over their SNAP enrollment rolls so we could ascertain such basic facts as, are these people even legally eligible to receive these benefits?
Do they exist?
And the state has refused. Absolutely, categorically refused. And in fact, the state has spent millions of dollars in court for the singular purpose of trying to prevent the state from ascertaining the identity of a single SNAP recipient in the entire state of Minnesota. Think about what this does to public trust, social trust, people's faith in the system. Right? Imagine in a community, a working class community in the Twin Cities, say a native Minnesotan who works as a lineman or works as a construction worker, works in any job that requires hard work, dedication, focus, who's worried about his ability to support for and provide his family. And then imagine that he has a neighbor who's a Somali refugee who arrived 2 years ago and has a Mercedes and no financial stress, no worries at all in the entire world, and never seems to ever go to work at all because he just went to an office in the state, lied on a piece of paper, and got unlimited free money forever for life. That is the system that is being run, and that is the corruption that this task force under the leadership of the vice president is going to demolish.
Exactly. Think about that. The fraud, and it was Barack Hussein Milhouse Benito Obama who actually set up the pipeline for federal dollars to go into those blue states so that they could set up all these fraud things.
So let me get this straight.
They're saying Ilhan was involved. Go ahead.
Let me get this straight. I'm giving you money, and when I ask you where it went, I'm racist. Is that right? Have I got that?
You got that right. That's right. Right. It could start World War XII. I love you, Linda. That's awesome, man. That's great. Yeah, exactly. Here you go. This is kind of sad in a way, but we'll get into it. It's Nick Shirley, and he talks about in Cuba. In Cuba. So Nick Shirley just revealed the strangest answer he ever got from a Cuban. He described a reality so disturbing, it exposes exactly how the government's control destroys freedom. So let's get him to start again. Let's increase it. Is the volume up? Yep, here we go.
What was the strangest answer you got? Like, what was a part where you're like, you cannot believe what somebody opened up and things they shared with you?
One person said they haven't had eggs in a year.
Eggs in a year.
Like, they talk about these books that they have, like, I think they call them like their
food
ration book, where the government controls how much food they get, and they're like, this is horrible. We haven't even had eggs in a year. It takes it years to eat a chicken. Like, stuff that you wouldn't even think about here in the United States, but because of communism and the government controlling what people can actually do and what they can eat, it dictates.
Yeah, unbelievable. That's Cuba. That's
communism.
Right. That's the communism that Barack Obama and Joe Biden wanted to get back in cahoots with. Wanted to get the United States to have good relationship with.
Yeah, but you see, Rich, communism is good. Nobody's just done it right yet.
I know, that's the thing. They're like, oh, it's going to work this time. I swear.
Yeah.
Unreal. Let's see. What about? Oh yeah. What about that science? This is going to be good.
It's like the definition of insanity: doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Right. Here we go. About that science we're supposed to believe in. How do I get rid of this thing? I think if I refresh. Yeah, I did it. Okay. Oh. Earlier this week, we this is it's Issues and Insights, I and I. Let's see. Earlier this week, we editorialized about the great green grift of the climate hustlers who line their own pockets as well as those of their co-conspirators. Today, we dig into the science, which has been repeatedly abused, often abandoned, and artfully prostituted to support the global warming racket. The United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, bogus, has long been treated as always having the first and last word on global warming. Google's artificial intelligence says it's widely regarded as the world's leading authority on climate science, providing essential peer-reviewed assessments that inform international policy. You guys, you know that climate change is the only science that does not have peer review. Yes, it does, Richard. No, they got PAL review. Seriously. For example, just a minor example. If you write a paper on biology, okay, and you want to get it published, all right, they're going to do a peer review on, say, a guy that does chemistry, okay? He doesn't know anything about biology enough to read and say, yeah, you got that right, but he finds the process. They went through the right scientific process in order to produce the results of this paper. Well, they don't do that in climate change. In climate change, it's another climate change guy that peer reviews it. So it's not really a peer if you're on the same. So they have a climate guy that does it. And they have their periodicals, their magazines on climate where they put them in, right? And what happens is if a guy has something and he wrote a paper and a white paper, say, and he wants to publish it, and it says something that he discovered, him and his team discovered, that goes against what it was widely regarded as climate science truth, then literally before they peer review it, even the magazine, they will reach out to others that they know on the other side and say, look, here's this paper, read it and give me something so that I can shoot this shit down because he's killing the money train here. They've already proven that's what happens. So we are all expected to regard its conclusions as settled science and surrender to the climate conmen and ideologues to give them all the money and power they demand. But it's not infallible. In fact, it seems that the IPCC has been feeding the big lie. The group, quote, has just published the next generation of climate scenarios, says environmentalist studies professor Roger Pielk Jr. The IPCC has now distanced itself from its own previous claims, which were used to goad true believers and leftist activists into political action to provide a generation of elected officials with a pretense to hike taxes. This is what it was always about. Spending and regulation, thereby wasting as much as $16 trillion with a T to create a blueprint for huge but wholly unneeded new government outlays that have zero effects on global temperatures and unsurprisingly end up in the pockets of the democratic machine. That's what it was all. It was the Club of Rome, which was a UN-sanctioned organization that came up with the whole global warming bullshit because they wanted to figure out a way that they could fool people in a country that what they are doing is destroying the world. So you got to get them to not do it. And that's going to cost money. So we got to raise your taxes. Sorry, we have to. You're killing the world. That's what they did. The new framework has eliminated the most extreme scenarios that have dominated climate. That's another thing. The only evidence that they have in the climate schools is computer models. They don't have any real world evidence. And the one time that they supposedly did that hockey stick thing, the programmer that wrote the program that was actually used to make that hockey stick, with temperatures, reading and all, he added, they cracked it. There was a hack that was done, and it was East Anglia University years ago. All right. I'll never forget this. And the hackers put the files out. I downloaded it. I got it somewhere. Right. I went through it, but there was a paper that was written. It was called The Smoking Code. And it was a guy who was an engineer who knew enough of ADA that he could read the code. Right. And so he pointed out that the programmer had this variable he called fudge factor because he figured nobody's ever going to see the source code. So he called it fudge factor. And what fudge factor did was it made a random number always higher than the last, but not too high so as to show that there were fraud. And that's how the hockey stick graph was built, because it always went up every time they ran it, which was each week. So they're full of crap, right? It turns out that the most alarming possibilities put forth by the IPCC, the same ones used those among us who insist that we only have a few years to save the earth from global warming and have to turn over our lives to their policymaking whims, simply aren't plausible. It's hard to overstate the importance of this shift because, says Pielk, tens of thousands of research papers have been and continue to be published using these scenarios, while a similar number of media headlines have amplified their findings, and governments and international organizations have built these implausible scenarios into policy and regulation. It was all, he adds, built on a foundation of sand. It's lamentable that the political grift extended to the science, thereby corrupting it. It should not have taken so long to discover that those claims were bogus, but there was money to be made in the scientific community by ignoring the truth and forecasting the disaster. Plus, they probably paid off the publishers. I mean, think about it, guys. In the United States, okay, I think it's the United States and New Zealand are the only two countries that allow drug companies to do commercials on television. And in America, we have these. Well, we did. I think since RFK came in, I haven't seen them, but we had commercials that would come on TV, ABC, NBC, CBS, all that, the usual suspects. and they would, ask your doctor if Paxil is right for you. What fucking person's going to go, you know what? I'm going to, hey, doc, is Paxil right for me? I mean, it's not going to happen. But the reason why they always had those commercials was they knew they weren't going to sell Paxil or any one of the other bogus drugs they have, right? It was because they paid enormous amounts of money, like 10 times the amount of what the commercial for that airtime was really worth. And why? Because if they did, then they got ABC, NBC, they got the networks used to getting that amount of money, and and they would never report what they were up to. So if we had honest news, because every network, like ABC, CBS, NBC, they have their own news divisions, right? They're not going to rat out the industry that's paying them so handsomely, and that's why they did it. That's why science is never settled. Unless they have been corrupted, scientists are expected to challenge each other, not sign on to consensus documents that are based on invalid scientific estimates. Remember when Al Gore, when he was going around saying there is a consensus among scientists? There's no such thing as consensus in science. To this day, you test to see if salt is sodium and chloride. You don't say it's going to be. You say, let's test it and make sure it is. There's no such thing as consensus in science. It just doesn't work that way. Otherwise, it's not really science at all. It's merely a political agenda masquerading as science with great financial benefits. It's about time somebody wrote that.
The thing is, a couple of things. First of all, you're entitled to your own opinions, but you're not entitled to your own facts, okay?
Yeah.
And the other thing is the climate has changed. Yes.
Sure.
The Earth has been both much warmer and much cooler in the history of the world than it is today.
Right.
And the Carboniferous period, it was like Antarctica was a jungle and the oxygen level was like 31%. That's why we grew 8-inch cockroaches and dragonflies with like 3.5-foot wingspan. That's when dragonflies were
taken off? Oh.
Were predators.
Oh yeah, CSS.
So, shall we give Linda what she's looking for?
What's she looking for?
Well, there was something up here. It's a little bit ago now, but she was looking for a moment.
The Science Delusion. Yeah. Yeah. I think I heard about that. The Science Delusion by Rupert.
So, yeah, anytime you want to rip into that, Rich.
What's that? Which one? I'm sorry.
Linda was looking for a moment.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even think. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
It's a Dr. Jade moment.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Floor is yours.
So, as most people in the United States know, this week was Cinco de Mayo. And it's going to be real quick, but I did some looking at Cinco de Mayo, and I think it's interesting because people don't really know what it means a lot of times. First of all, Cinco de Mayo, for those that don't speak Spanish, it literally means the 5th of May. That's all it means. Which is different from May the 4th, which is Star Wars Day, and everybody gets it now. It's an old joke. May the 4th be with you. But Cinco de Mayo, people think that's a Mexican independence. Well, it's not. It has nothing to do with that. Mexican independence was 16th of September 1810. That's when they got their independence from Spain. This event, the 5th of May, Cinco de Mayo celebrates a really big battle on the 5th of May of 1862. And there was a group of some 4,000, Mexican army, basically farmers with farm tools who faced a heavily armed French army of 6,500 to 8,000 in there and beat them. It was at the Battle of Puebla, and it's a huge thing. The thing is, people celebrate it in the United States, and people don't realize It's not celebrated. It's nothing in Mexico. People
Mexico,
celebrate.
they don't even know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you mention it to them, they'll say, but in the United States, it became during the civil rights era, it became a Hispanic call to rights.
Right.
And everybody came to it. And it's celebrated big time in the United States, but not in Mexico at all. And one of the ways we celebrate this, and go ahead and share my screen. So one of the things we do,
make it bigger.
I don't even know if I know how to do that.
Control, scroll up, or control, use your wheel on your mouse up.
Yeah, mine doesn't do that.
Oh, you have a Mac?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's why.
If anybody got a suggestion, I haven't figured it out. So anyway,
it's all right.
The interesting thing about Cinco de Mayo is it's famous for a few things. This is a list I got to be able to make. I had no idea how to. Well, let me try this.
What's up, Streaky?
But so you'll see here top holidays for alcohol consumption. Of course, the first three everybody pretty much agrees on are the top three: New Year's Eve, Mardi Gras, and St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
Those are blowouts. The rest of them are flexible in position, but these are pretty much a top 10. Right after the 4th of July, look at this, Cinco de Mayo. Up there, and it is a major holiday for tequila.
Yeah, and Corona.
14, yeah, tequila and Corona. 14% of all the tequila consumed during a year is on Cinco de Mayo.
A lot.
And the drink is margaritas, and 58% of the alcohol consumed is Mexican beer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I thought those little, and of course we got Thanksgiving Day, Halloween. I was surprised to see Halloween up there. Super Bowl Sunday, of course, people knock back beer. And
it's like Juneteenth, it doesn't exist.
People drink beer. And Labor Day, I was surprised to see Halloween, Memorial Day, and Labor Day in there.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah, those.
Well, Labor Day, yeah, because you drink beer at a cookout and stuff like that. But Halloween, no.
You know, Memorial Day and Labor Day, I guess. Yeah, you're drinking beer at
a picnic. You know, a burger and a beer.
Yeah, right? And Super Bowl Sunday, everybody sits down and knocks back a few.
Right. Well, yeah.
But even Thanksgiving Eve, I guess, is like a really, especially in colleges, a real blowout day.
Huh.
Yeah. So I don't know. But I didn't want to get into a history of Mexico, but that's
good.
That's just a few facts about Cinco de Mayo. And for anybody who knows a little bit, but not a lot about it, that's what it is. The Mexicans in the U.S. celebrate it, but not in Mexico.
Right.
And that's what.
Awesome. Okay.
It's a Dr. Jade moment.
Oh, crap. I just accidentally kicked Dr. Jade. Jade, come back in. Oh, my goodness. I just accidentally kicked her because I tried to kick off her her article. Oh, man, that's terrible. Jade, come on in. Oh, man. Oh, wow, that sucks. Oh, man. I'm waiting for her to come in. Oh. I know. I'm like sitting here like, uh-oh. She's probably wondering what in the hell happened. So I just texted her. Oh man. I gotta wait for her because I can't start reading. I won't know when she comes in. Because I had a perfect segue to go into that about the Mexican. There she is. My bad, Jade. I tried to kick out your article and it kicked you with it.
What did you do?
I had a perfect. The IT guy fucked it up. There you go. That's me. Yeah, I just said I clicked on the article and it said kick from stream, and I did, and then you went bleep. You went away. Oh man, I'm sorry about that. But this was a perfect segue after your Dr. Jade moment. Hang on, let me bring it up. Share screen. There we go. So, New York Times, Breitbart News coverage of Peter Schweizer's invisible coup prompts Trump's State Department to probe Mexican consulates in the U.S. There we go. President Donald Trump's State Department is probing all 53, I thought it was 59, all 53 Mexican consulates across the United States following extensive coverage of Breitbart News' senior contributor Peter Schweizer's latest book, The Invisible Coup, How American Elites and Foreign Powers Use Immigration as a Weapon. And they do. What do you hear? On Thursday, CBS News reported, I thought it was New York Times. All right, CBS News reported that the State Department would review the Mexican consulates to assign U.S. foreign policy. Where did I go with that? To align U.S. foreign policy with the Trump administration's priorities. Whoever Anna is, hello. The New York Times on Friday revealed that Breitbart News' coverage of Schweizer's invisible coup book had prompted the State Department, citing a recent interview. The review comes after claims have been circulating in conservative media in recent months that Mexican consulates interfere in American politics. They do, and encourage mass migration to the United States. They do. In fact, they were throwing money at the Minneapolis anti-ICE riots, like the protest one. The accusations largely originated from Peter Schweizer, a right-wing author and contributor to Breitbart News, who has promoted conspiracy theories. Every book he's ever written was accurate about foreign government influence. His claims include the Mexican consular officials have praised protests against U.S. Well, he has the goods. Let's get down to it. In the Founders Roundtable interview cited by the Times, Schweitzer was asked why the Trump administration has not yet sought to close some of Mexico's consulates in the U.S. Quote, this could be done easily. The president can direct it, Schweitzer said. The Secretary of State can carry it out. We've done it in the past. Let's remember, in 2020, we ordered the Chinese consulate in Houston, Texas, closed because of their widespread espionage. So, yes, this is something that's easily done. The invisible coup, Schweitzer writes, Mexican government is blatantly interfering in our domestic politics, working with American political advisors, Democrats, to turn legal and illegal migrants inside the United States into a political force to wield for their benefit. Schweitzer notes that former Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, I said that pretty good, didn't I? Toured American cities in February 2017 with the purpose of rallying Mexican migrants in the U.S. against Trump's border policies, which crippled drug cartel profits through strict immigration enforcement. That's what's going on.
Are you sure that's not pronounced President Andrés Manuel Labor?
Manuel Labor. Manual labor. There you go.
Andrés Manuel Labor.
Yeah. Manual labor.
Never mind. It's not funny if you have to explain it, Rich.
I have to do this to a drummer. Yeah, all right. AMLO, in his, let me tell you, there was a Mexican elected senator, who votes with their in their Senate, who lives in the United States. AMLO, in his attempts to upend Trump border policies, went as far as to suggest turning Mexico's consulates into migrant defense offices, Schweitzer writes. An unprecedented level of lobbying by a neighboring nation's leader against a sitting American president. AMLO was not simply aiding migrants in their legal battles in the United States. He was calling for and working toward an electoral change inside the United States. A foreign leader so brazenly interfering in American politics was unprecedented, at least from a country with which the United States was not at war.
I'm just thinking that's an act of war.
Yeah. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, it's a weird name for a Mexican president, in January denied Schweitzer's reporting. Yesterday, the Secretariat of Foreign Affairs issued a statement. It involves a person who wrote a book claiming that through our consulates, we are engaging in politics. Why do you have 53? For or within the United States? No. It's absolutely false. Consulates have a role determined by international laws. And what our consulates, and you always follow, what our consulates essentially do is provide protection and assistance to Mexicans in the United States. That is their job. You need 53, and that means at least one in every state, one in D.C., and 2 others that we can throw somewhere, right? Is that what you're saying? You need them in every damn state? That's how many Mexicans are here legally? I don't think so. It is a fundamental, and that is what they are dedicated to do. We categorically deny they are yada, 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 bullshit. So the following week, Mexico's ambassador to the United States, Esteban, I'm not even going to say, Montezuma? Okay. Barragan, whatever, also denied Schweitzer's reporting. Yeah, they're all going to deny it. They're all going to say the invisible coup, right? It's completely false because, as you know, we follow the Vienna Convention, and you've always followed the law, right? Their cartel people will kill your ass if you're a politician down there and you don't do what they tell you. There's been over 200 executions by the cartel of public figures in Mexico in just 2023 and 2024. Over 200. What we do in the United States is what the U.S. does in Mexico. We have 9 consulates. They have 9. They have 53. We have 9 consulates for 1.6 million Americans that live in Mexico.
But she kind of just proved the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if we've got 9 for 1.6 million, start doing the math. If
yeah,
we've got
53 for 325 million or whatever we're at now.
340, I think it is.
Is it? Yeah. It's like everybody wants a piece of it.
Anyway, Linda, I hope you heard the moment.
What's that?
No, Linda. She
was
asking
okay.
for the moment. I hope you heard it and enjoyed it.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh, did you skip over? There's this one. I really wanted to hear what he had to say.
What's that?
From Nolte, anti-Trump, Indiana.
Nolte, yeah. I love that. I love John Nolte.
Yeah,
I love reading me some John Nolte because he's good. He's a very good writer.
Yeah, because I really want to see what these guys in Indiana are saying now.
No, Nolte. Anti-Trump Indiana columnist forced to eat crow after MAGA primary day. Yeah, because they were all saying, like, "Oh, Trump's out of it. He's got a brain deficiency." They're actually saying Donald Trump has dementia problems, but yet Joe Biden was 2.0. He's cogent. Remember that bullshit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's his name said that? Joe Scarborough.
Yeah, who murdered a woman in Florida. First, a little background. Allegedly, fact checkers. First, a little background. As you know, we're in the middle of a redistricting battle before this year's midterm election. Although our Northeast states vote Republican in the 40% range, because those states are run by Democrats, there are almost 0 Republican House seats because Democrats rigged those states by gerrymandering their congressional districts in a way that ensures those 40% receive no representation whatsoever. In other words, it's rigged. This gives Democrats an unfair advantage in the U.S. House of Representatives. In response, Trump has aggressively pushed red states to do the same with their own redistricting. So far, Texas and Florida have come through. Tennessee and Alabama are working on it. But thanks to establishment GOP squishies in the Hoosier state Senate, Indiana refused to redistrict. So because Trump is awesome, he and his allies poured millions of dollars and all kinds of man hours into defeating those GOP squishes in Tuesday's primary. The result of the 7, he says 7, that's what I heard, but now some are saying 8 because there was one that was still being contested. So of the 7 GOP incumbents targeted by Trump, only 1 survived, while 1 race remains too close to call. The 5 challengers who did win, not only won, they won by margins that range from 18 to 50%. Also, a 6th Trump-backed candidate won an open seat. So
okay, because I was saying I heard that 6 won.
Yeah, the open. Yeah. But so the moral of the thing is never listen to Mike Pence. All right. You'd think after 10 years of this, they would learn. And by they, I mean the Trump haters who are always so confident while being so wrong about President Trump failing at something. He's right. Today's example is Indianapolis Star anti-Trump columnist Jim Briggs, who published this on Tuesday, just hours before MAGA triumphed in his state's primary challenges. Quote, much like the Senate redistricting vote, Trump's wrath is looking shaky. Reporting from Politico and CNN, LOL, projects a bad night for the Trump-endorsed primary challenges, crowed Briggs. Lieutenant Governor Mika Beckwith is already managing expectations, telling both outlets that defeating 3 out of 7 anti-redistricted senators could constitute a good night for the revenge tour. Sorry, but 43% is a failing grade in any class I've ever taken, Briggs said. Then he wrote this beauty. We're just hours away from loudmouths with Beckwith expanding their goalpost even further to the point at which a good night is 2 wins, 1 win, or maybe even the real redistricting war was the friends we made along the way. That might be the true reckoning. Trump can't move the needle in Indiana. Oh. Then comes this beauty of a closer. While the TPUSA special forces followed the MAGA money to another state, that's who went in there. Turning Point USA. They went in and got the Turning Point USA. If you see them coming after you, just get out of the fucking race, because they got people that hit the streets and hit the phones. I'm telling you, it's Charlie Kirk's old thing is amazing. Braun, Banks, and other pro-Trump Republicans will have to sit here and wonder what the events of the past few months mean for their futures. Yeah, they're going to be sworn in. Narrator, a few hours later. A few hours later. These results are easy to decode. Indiana's primaries were a referendum on Trumpism. Trumpism prevailed. Simple as that, writes the very same Jim Briggs. Even if so, in other words, the same guy who was an a-hole against Trump is now praising Trump. Just which way is the wind going? Even if you want to discount the results by attributing them to the unfathomable $13.5 million ad blitz that hit state Senate primaries, you have to acknowledge Trump is a singular figure who can make it rain on obscure state legislative elections because they happen to be important to him personally. He closes with, humility comes for us all, but will it?
And that's the closest you're ever going to get to a mea culpa from a Democrat.
Well, yeah, and about rhinos too,
Or a rhino.
Yeah, but he's probably a Dem though. You're right. I think he's a Dem. But will it? It certainly hasn't come for Jonah. Not so little lured Fauntleroy. All right, Goldberg, Bill Kristol, Stephen Colbert, CNN, MS Now, Jimmy Kimmel, or the Harpies of The View. They have never stopped predicting the walls closing in on Trump. Will this columnist's humility result in him reading Politico and watching CNN with a little more skepticism after being so widely misled by both? Will he now stand back and wonder what else they might be misleading him about? And you know what else this shows, guys? It shows that Trump, it's still Trump's party. The left goes out there on all the social medias and says that, MAGA's just breaking up. No fucking way. MAGA's stronger than it's ever been. And also, we got another one I think I'm reading. I think I put it on tonight. Of they finally figured out why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace, why they all turned and MTG, why they all turned on Trump. And I didn't read it, so I'm going to get into it. It's not worth being wrong. That's so off. It's not being wrong. That's so off-putting. It's that these people are always, one, so smug in their certainty while being wrong, and two, refuse to learn from their mistakes. That's true. That's liberals everywhere. Tuesday night's MAGA triumph is not difficult to understand. You see, Trump has something rare in politics, something no other national figure has, something more valuable than anything else, and that's a real following, a large following, a loyal following. And so, if a politician with a following is up against a bunch of local hacks without one, the results will almost always be the same. Yes, a lack of humility is a big problem for the establishment media, but a bigger problem is their choice to live in denial. Here's the thing, what I would have said to add to that, because I agree with that. But I would have added that the liberals, when a Democrat has a following, it's because his constituents are gimme, 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 gimme. Right? What's the gimme, gimme, gimme from Trump followers, from Trump supporters, MAGA people, America First? What is it? It's not gimme, gimme, gimme because they're working hard to get their own. It's fix the fucking country. That's what it is. Fix the damn country. Stop the communists. Go back to the Constitution. Fairness. That's what we want. And that's why Trump has such a big following. because he doesn't waver from his principles. The other side, they don't have principles. Gimme, gimme, gimme. That's all it's about. Power, rig it, gimme. That's what it's all about. And I think that's why Trump is so popular. Populist nationalist. Yep. Make America great again is strong. Yeah. It's MEGA. Make Israel strong, great again. You're a hack, but we like you. Let me go to the next one.
We want to talk about Mandami?
Yeah, that's the next one I was going to. Great minds and all that, right?
Great that.
There you go.
And fools too and all that, you know.
Yeah. Speak for yourself. Spooked by creepy Mamdani video, billionaire prepares to flee hostile New York City and take his jobs with him. It started with an undeniably creepy, stalky video starring New York City's dashing young communist mayor, Zohran Kwame Mamdani. Say that 10 times real fast. The mayor posted the video on tax day, April 15th. In it, he announced the creation of a so-called pay-a-tail tax. I don't know how to pronounce it. A tax. Yeah, whatever. I don't care. A tax on luxury. Thank you, but I don't care. A tax on luxury. Get this. Luxury second homes. You got to think. So what do we want to tax? Smoking? Nah, we already do. Beer? Nah, we already do. I know. Luxury second homes within the city. So it's a tax on luxury second homes within city limits. That was the commie part of the video. The creepy, stalky part was that he chose to film it in front of a building that houses a penthouse belonging to one individual billionaire. So he targeted him. Mamdani called the man out by name, Ken Griffin, founder and co-founder. How are you a founder and co-owner? Yeah, of the Citadel hedge fund and securities empire, and stoked envy by disclosing what he had paid for his apartment. Watch this.
When I ran for mayor, I said I was going to tax the rich. Well, today, we're taxing the rich. I'm thrilled to announce we've secured a pied-à-terre tax, the first in New York's history. This is an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than $5 million, whose owners do not live full-time in the city. Like for this penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million. This pied-à-terre tax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich, those who store their wealth in New York City real estate, but who don't actually live here. But even so, they're able to reap the huge financial rewards of owning property in, dare I say, the greatest city in the world. And most of the time, these units are sitting empty, since again, they don't actually live here. This is a fundamentally unfair system that hurts working New Yorkers. Now, it's coming to an end. This tax will raise at least $500 million directly for the city.
And
good luck with that.
I can't wait. I can't wait to read after this how much they're going to lose because this guy leaves.
It'll help fund things like free childcare, cleaner streets, and safer.
There's no such thing as free childcare.
Neighborhoods. As mayor,
nothing free.
I believe everyone has a role to play in contributing to our city, and some a little bit more than others. Happy tax day, New York.
You hear this shit? All right, so let's see.
There's no such thing as free anything. Somebody
right, there's no such thing as free anything. Oh,
I
kicked it out. I did it again. I'm not good with these. So hold on. I want to go back to it. There we go. So Griffin was understandably disturbed by Mamdani's doxy message. It was creepy and weird, he told moderator Sarah Eisen at the Milk and Global conference on Tuesday. I mean, like, knock, knock, knock on the window, like the mayor of New York City. I had to go back and look at it again, Griffin related. I mean, like, you literally looked at it the first time, you're like, you got to be kidding me, okay? And then the second time, you're like, you know what? This has gone from creepy to actually not really creepy. This has gone to frightening because the CEO of United Healthcare was killed just a few blocks from my house. And anything that creates like an agitation in the extremists on either side of the aisle is a frightening dynamic. Now, I'm willing to bet that Mamdani never even thought about that because he doesn't give a shit. The communists are always, see, he did a classic communist move, which was he was going after the oppressor to help the oppressed. That's what he did, right? He said he doesn't even stay there, right? And he has all that money. He paid all that money. So he's going to pay a tax on it because we could have free childcare, free this, free that, from $500 million just from him alone. And it says he's not wrong. It's chilling stuff. Something the menacing mayor never mentioned in his covetous propaganda clip is that Griffin is already an extremely generous benefactor of the Big Apple. My colleague Robert Spencer reported in April. The thing is, however, that Ken Griffin is not really a problem for New York City. The Washington Free Beacon reported Saturday that Griffin, along with legendary music mogul David Geffen, made a joint $400 million donation to the Memorial Sloan Kettering in 2023. This constituted the largest single donation the Cancer Center has ever received. Griffin has also given $40 million to the Museum of Modern Art, $40 million to the Museum of Natural History, and $15 million to the Poverty-Fighting Robin Hood Foundation. The Free Beacon adds, sources tell us his gifts to city institutions total around $600 million. All told, Griffin has donated more than $2.5 billion with a B dollars to advance education, opportunity, and health sciences initiatives that significantly transform people's lives, according to Citadel's website. Then, there are also the enormous contributions that Griffin's business endeavors make to New York City's overall prosperity. Griffin, whose Citadel and Citadel Securities together employ approximately 5,000 people, is currently building Midtown's tallest skyscraper right on Park Avenue. The Free Beacon noted something a mayor with any understanding of how to help working people would be welcoming and celebrating. This is the thing. They don't care about you getting a job. They want to rob the rich so that they can just give you freebies so that you vote for them continually. That's the rub. That's the slavery that the communists put you in. It's never enough, of course. Imagine how it must feel after accomplishing what this man has accomplished and giving back what this man has given back, to be low-key threatened and simultaneously offered up as a gift of plunder to the city's Marxist masses by a preening socialist who's never built a single thing in his life. The real visceral gut punch for Griffin had to have been the potentially deadly doxing by the mayor of New York City. New York Post commented, Griffin, who has sparred with President Trump over economic policy, said he admires the president's resiliency for surviving multiple assassination attempts. Quote, I've had my differences with President Trump over the years, he added, but the idea that he has survived 3 assassination attempts is just incomprehensible. I mean, do I have to pay the guy much? No, I mean, could you imagine the state of mind that you would have to be in having survived not 1, not 2, but 3 separate attempts? Maybe it's finally sinking in for Griffin that Marxists are the worst people. I've said multiple times that it's wealthy business leaders and investors' own fault for not taking the communist threat in New York City seriously. The moment Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg indicted a former U.S. president on BS charges, March 30, 2023, every wealthy person who chose to stay in that nascent shithole has no one to blame but himself. Better late than never, though. Even if Griffin stands to lose substantial investment by getting the heck out of there. Quote, so where does that leave us at 350 Park? Eisen asked him at the Milken conference. Quote, that leaves us with the fact that we went to Miami and revised our building plan to make it a bigger office building. You're bailing? Griffin would not answer directly. He began by insisting that moving his company to New York City in 2022 was the right move before launching into an economium, all right, of Florida as a business-friendly state. I'm reading all these words I've never seen before. Sounds like it will be a drawn-out long goodbye from a man who hates to admit it's over, but it's over. Griffin will never see New York City the same way again. Even if Mamdani is no longer mayor someday, the people who elected him will still be the voting majority in that rotten apple. It's super sad that the American left's zombie army, which it has built with a combination of a wholesale mental illness cultivation policy and polluting the culture with political hate and fear, has made our country unsafe for leaders. Be they political Donald Trump, business United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, legal Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh, or social Charlie Kirk. Anyone who steps up and leads is now a target. It's the truth, and it has to be taken seriously. Except for lefties, of course. Who can blame Griffin for not wanting to die at the hands of the next whacked-out leftist zombie foot soldier? For not wanting his family to deal with his loss simultaneously with the cheers of the despicable hardened left, and for not wanting his fairly earned fortune confiscated and redistributed to strengthen the very system that created this poisonous atmosphere. Unbelievable.
And I don't remember whether it was him or Jamie Dimon said that, New York City is not guaranteed to be the financial capital of the world. It just happens to be. That's not a, they're not.
Yeah.
You're not listening.
No, I wasn't. I was reading something interesting. Go ahead, say it again.
Yeah, it was either Jamie Dimon or Ken Griffin that said it, that, New York City may be the financial capital of the world, but that's not a guaranteed position.
Right. Oh, yeah. When you have the commies take over. Yeah. And trust me, Mamdani is part of the Islamic swarm. They're trying to do here what they did to Europe. They're doing it in Texas. They're in New Jersey. They're in New York now. They're trying to do it all over. And we're not going to put up with that shit. Are you taking off, Streaky? See you later, man. Thanks for stopping in. Let's see what else we got. I'm going to put a video up. Trillions of dollars in debt, dollars in fraud. Yeah, let's do that one. Got to do the commercial first. There we go.
Oh, how about the WAPO story about voter fraud?
Yeah, we'll do that in a sec. I'm going to do this one. It's just a short video, but I think it's good. We're in trillions of dollars in debt because of trillions of dollars in fraud. There we go.
I want you to pay very close attention to what President Trump says here.
They've done is so sad. When you look at the Minnesota scam, a lot of it has to do with Somalia. Nobody's calling out anybody, but a lot of it has to do with Somalia and plenty of others. And I believe the governor is complicit. I believe Ilhan Omar is complicit. I believe that your attorney general is complicit. And if they are, you're going to hopefully find out about it, and you're going to have to do what you have to do. If we found half of the fraud that's taking place in this country, and I think you have a chance of doing that, we would have much more than a balanced budget. That's the kind of numbers you're talking about.
Think about it.
What he said there at the end?
Yeah.
If we were able to stop and prevent nearly half the fraud that occurs at both the state and the government level, we would have more than a balanced budget. Yep. And then the government wouldn't need to tax us to hell and back. Here's the thing that gets me. I don't understand how not every single tax-paying American isn't upset about this. It blows my mind because it impacts us all. No more smoke and mirrors. I'm sick of hearing about it because we know it exists. Do something about it.
You know why I think, Jade, why you don't hear people screaming about it? Because people have become complacent with what their tax bill is. Because I think what the government, which Trump should try to do, is say, okay, we're going to change it from now on. Every month, instead of taking money out of your check, every month you have to write a check to Washington, D.C. for your taxes. Every month. We don't care who you are. You got to write that check, and you're going to mail it in. We won't accept it electronically. We're going to do it by mail every month, because that way you're going to know exactly what the hell is being taken. Most people don't even look at their check anymore. If they don't even look at their check because they became complacent with how much is being taken out. So when you hear, $20 billion in fraud in Minnesota, right? When you hear that, it doesn't affect me. My taxes aren't going to go up. I pay the same taxes all the time. They don't think that because it's not affecting them personally at the gas pump, at the restaurant, at the supermarket, because it doesn't affect them personally. They don't care. They don't realize it will affect them. If we stop the fraud, they will pay less in taxes. That's why I think that's going on.
Well, I mean, I think that may be something, but the fact is people are blind to it because you talk to them about something like that, and all they say is, but Trump. That's their answer, but Trump. They hate Trump so much they can't even see that far.
Yeah, that's true.
And these people keep voting for this, and when they don't get their people in, they're upset. You know,
That's right.
Oh, you know, my congressman had to settle for Mercedes this year. He couldn't afford his Ferrari. You know.
Yeah.
They could. They will go out and die on the street for their congressman to get these grift.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
These people are whacked.
Let's listen. I'm going to try to get the video of Marco, because he did a real good. Let's see. Is this it? I think it is. Hold on. Where is it? Yeah. I think this. Yeah. Hold on. Marco wears many hats. There we go. Let's bring it up.
He is so different from the days that he was little Marco.
Yeah, he is. He always had a very good way of talking, but here you go. So Ed Doherty. Now, Senator Marco Rubio just walked out to fill in as the press secretary for Caroline Leavitt at the White House. She's leaving on maternity leave, so he comes. This part's funny. This isn't the video I want you to see. He's the press guy, right?
Hello. Thank you guys for having me today. I'll be filling in for Caroline today, obviously. So
it's a joke.
Brief remarks here, and then we'll get to your questions.
Yeah, the whole thing was a joke. He left like minutes later. Oh crap! I just went out again. Let me see.
But he did answer a bunch of questions. I saw them.
Yeah, but then he left. It was real quick. Hold on. I'm gonna get the video. Where is it? Come on. Oh, geez. I don't want to donate to your cause. Thank you. Yeah, here it is. This is going to be awesome. This is really good. He does a really good job with this. Because the way he talks to you, he convinces you. You know what I mean? He just does. So let's see.
All right, there's no way I can figure out who to call on. I'm just going to like press right.
Well, this is, this is here we go. Yeah. This is it.
Right in the back row.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I'll go to you next. I can't get everybody. All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Secretary Rubio. Keep going right. Welcome to the White House.
What's that?
Talking to me, sir?
Yeah, to you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I have two questions on two separate issues that come.
Do they get two questions for these? There's a lot of people in here.
That fall under your umbrella.
All right. Well, you answer. You can ask me two questions. I'll give you one answer.
Thank you very much.
And I'll pick the one I like better.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The first has to do with the blockade. There are lawmakers from both parties who claim the blockade is an act of war. What do you say to that? And my second question has to do with the fuel embargo of Cuba. How long, Mr. Secretary, will that last?
Okay, two things. All right, good. I'll answer both your questions because I like the second one too. The first one on the blockade. And so why do we have a blockade? We have a blockade because they shut down the straits. So I don't know which members of Congress you're talking to, but here's what I would ask them. I would ask everybody here. It's very simple. These guys have shut down the Straits of Hormuz. This is what Iran is saying. We will shut down the straits. No one can go through. No country in the world can go through unless we allow you to go through, and you have to pay us. But our ships can go through, meaning the Iranian ships, as much as they want. That's crazy. Who would agree to that? So how are we going to have a situation where they get to close the straits to everybody, and the only people who are allowed to go through there 100% without paying anything are the Iranians? If you do that, they'll keep the straits closed forever. They're trying to make this some new normal. Okay, under no circumstances can we ever allow them to normalize the fact that they get to blow up commercial ships and put mines in the water. So the response to that is we're going to blockade your ship. If everyone's ships are not getting out, your ships are not getting out either. That's not an act of war. That's a defensive measure. It's a counter to what they have decided to do. You know what is an act of war? Putting mines in the water. Why don't the members of Congress, whoever it is complaining about it, they should be all over that. These guys put mines in the water. That alone, mining in the water is illegal.
It's illegal
under any circumstances, and they've done it. But this is crazy stuff, but this is what they've done. On Cuba, oil blockade on Cuba. There's no oil blockade on Cuba per se. Here's what's happening with Cuba. Okay, Cuba used to get free oil from Venezuela. Used to give them a bunch of free oil. They would take like 60% of that oil and resell it for cash. It wouldn't even go to benefit the people. So the only blockade that's happened is the Cubans have decided, the Venezuelans have decided we're not giving you free oil anymore.
Yeah.
And you can only imagine nowadays, the way oil prices are, no one's giving away free oil, much less to a failed regime. So the problem with Cuba is worse. Okay.
Right. Let's see. Is there another one? I sincerely hope so. Because there was one that he did really good answers as well. I don't think there's another one. Is that the one I just played? Yeah. All right. We'll pick the next one.
Yeah, he has matured so much.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
And
did.
you know, he absolutely despises communism.
I know.
I mean,
I know.
He's got a blood feud against communism.
Oh, I know, because he's from Cuba.
Yeah, because his parents are from Cuba.
Yeah. Here we go. I think this is it.
I got to ask you, what is your hope for America at a time such as this?
My hope for America?
And how do you
same
personally deal with that?
Yeah, look, I mean, my hope for America is what it's always been. I think it's the hope I hope we all share. We want it to continue to be the place where anyone from anywhere can achieve anything, where you're not limited by the circumstances of your birth,
Right.
by the color of your skin, by your ethnicity, but frankly, it's a place where you are able to overcome challenges and achieve your full potential. I think that should be the goal of every country in the world, frankly. But I think in the U.S., we're not perfect. Our history is not one of perfection, but it's still better than anybody else's history.
Yep.
And ours is a story of perpetual improvement. Each generation has left the next generation of Americans freer, more prosperous, safer, and that is our goal as well. But it is a unique and exceptional country. And as we come upon this 250-year anniversary, I think we have a lot to learn and be proud of in our history. It is one of perpetual and continuous improvement, where each generation has done its part to bring us closer to fulfilling the vision that the founders of this country had upon its founding.
Yeah. That was presidential speak right there. That's what that was. And I think he wants it. Like I said before, I think I would like JD and Rubio. If Rubio's on the ticket, the two of them, definitely. And then it would be Marco and whoever he picks. That's what I would like to see. But who knows?
Byron Donalds.
Yeah, Byron Donald. Yeah, I would like to see him. I'd like to see him on the ticket with Rubio, but they're both from Florida. You don't do that. So I don't know. He has to be governor.
Hey, all you have to do is one of you, redeclares your residence.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
That's kind of spooky.
That's so Democrat.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. But let's see what else is out there. Let me close these. Well, there's a black guy who is squealing like a pig when he gets caught during a robbery. Here we go. Ready? Cop right behind. Look at this.
Oh.
Squealing like a pig. And you let him go. Dude had a gun and everything. Do you hear him squealing like a pig? Now, I hope I don't get in trouble for that, so I got to cut that out, but I wanted to see it. Squealing like a pig. There you go. Sophia Rain farted, and the cameraman couldn't stop laughing.
Oh.
Hold on. We got to hear this. Here you go.
I blocked the entrance to the next door neighbor because I got scared last night.
You hear him laughing?
I didn't want anyone to come through. So that's very nice. Over here we have.
She's keeping a straight face.
Right here. Very nice. Very nice.
He just couldn't stop laughing.
Can we edit that stuff out?
Yeah. Oh, we don't have to edit.
You got to play this one because this is CNN's Enton about Trump losing support. Because that's
CNN's what?
CNN's Enton. It's a myth that Trump.
Oh, Enton. Yeah. Yeah, we'll play. I was going to play that.
And this is CNN.
Right. Well, Harry Enton is like always been like that. He tells the truth.
Well, he's like such a friggin' nerd. He's just a numbers guy. He's such a nerd.
Well, he's supposed to be just a numbers guy.
No, that's it.
But if you notice, I know what you're saying.
It's good. It's a good thing.
I know what you're saying. But here's the thing. You see that woman there? They always have someone with him because they got to keep the liberalism going. So there's always someone there. If he goes too far, they have to jump in. That's the way I think of it. So here we go.
Lawyers are now prepping staff to deal with a Democratic Congress, reportedly giving briefings now on, here's the reporting, how to best prepare for congressional oversight as staff begin to brace for the likelihood of significant Democratic victories in the November midterm elections, which is another reminder of the struggle that Trump has faced with his approval rating, an unpopular war, Americans still struggling to pay for everyday living expenses. Yet, Trump-backed candidates still came out on top in a big way in Tuesday's primaries. CNN's Harry Enton running the numbers on this one. So Tuesday, especially in Indiana, showed that the president still has juice, still has a lot of influence, at least in Indiana.
So, as Indiana goes, so goes the nation when it comes to Republican voters and Donald John Trump. He absolutely still has the juice. And when you're a Republican and you go against Trump, you get voted off the island. I always love Survivor. And in this particular case, what we saw in Indiana was...
Oh, what happened? What the hell happened?
Lawyers are now prepping staff.
I didn't do it.
Particular case, what we saw in Indiana was you go, adios, amigos, goodbye, see you later. And to me, that is emblematic of what we see nationwide with Republicans. I think there's this myth that's going on right now that, oh, Trump is really losing support among Republicans. But compared to other midterm cycles, he's just as popular with Republicans as he has ever been at this point in midterm cycles. Right now, nationally, we're talking about an approval rating on average of 84%. In 2022, his popularity rating was 76%, actually lower when he wasn't in the presidency. In 2018, the last time he was president, 85%. That 85 looks a whole heck of a lot like this 84% right here. The bottom line is this: Donald Trump still absolutely has juice with Republican voters. You saw it in Indiana, and I think that you'll see it down the line as well if any Republicans try and go against the President of the United States, who is still very much beloved by Republican voters.
The look on her face. It's
Harry,
like a
you're also
scowl.
looking at turnout. What are you seeing in turnout? Why is this significant to this conversation?
Okay, why is it significant? Because we know that within the Republican Party, Trump has that extra strong core, that MAGA base, right? We're talking about approval ratings, depending on which poll you look at, 95, 97, 100% with MAGA Republicans. And here's the thing. They are incredibly juiced up compared to other Republicans. Because let's take a look here. Republicans who say it's more important to vote in 2026 than the usual midterm election. Look at this. 60% of MAGA identifying Republicans say that, compared to just 36% of non-MAGA. So what's going on in these primaries, right? It's not just that you have this core Republican base that really loves Donald Trump. The people who really love him, they're the ones who are absolutely juiced up to go out and vote. They would go over hot coals to vote in those primaries. And you saw that in Indiana, with a clear majority of those representatives who went against Trump on redistricting. Well, they're no longer going to have a job come the next session of that state.
So then the question is, do Republicans think that party leaders should be following Trump, or other Republicans should be following Trump?
Yeah, okay. So you see this juiced up MAGA, right? You see right here that his support among Republicans is just as strong as it was going into the 2018 midterm cycle, right? But it's more than that. Republican voters want their party leaders to follow the president of the United States, because party leaders should follow the president's lead. You know, for Joe Biden at the same point in his first term, just 57% of Democrats said that party leaders should follow his lead. Look at this number for Donald Trump. It's 75%, significantly higher than it was for Joe Biden. So it's not just that Republicans really like Donald Trump. It's they want their leaders to follow Donald Trump. And when they don't, as I said at the beginning, you get voted off the island.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She didn't have much to say, did she?
No, not really. When you slam them with, like, he slams you with facts. That's the thing.
Yeah, he's such a nerd, and he just says it. It's like
that's funny.
He just says it, you know?
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Do we care about EBT recipients?
I was just looking at that. Yes.
Or Coinbase?
Yeah. Let's see. This is good.
Or do we want to know about the Biden DOJ?
I'm already there. Throw on your apron. EBT recipients complain new reforms are turning them into Betty Crocker. No. All right.
Oh, and they had to put cleavage in there. God.
Oh, of course. Why not? But it's AI, you know, but why not? Let's see. Time to grab that whisk. Remember, guys, we played that video. That woman was saying, you ain't taking away my snacks. My children get snacks and I eat snacks. You ain't taking them away from me. Why? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Storm DC? Grant here. This has been long overdue. Finally, the government is saying enough and telling EBT recipients that the gravy train is coming to an end, literally. As a result, people are flipping out over the new reforms. They can no longer buy candy, soda, or even pre-made croissant. That's right, folks. It's time to tighten the apron strings and start learning how to actually make real food. Let's break it down. An X post shows a woman raging over new reforms of SNAP benefit. I can't even use my EBT for croissants or pre-made chicken now. And so now I got to cook from scratch. Yeah. If we're paying for it, you're going to do what we want you to do. Then she drops the line. So you guys better be Betty Crocker coming around the corner and start learning some stuff, because you ain't going to be eating. These poor people really are oppressed, eh? So, let's see.
Okay, you guys are not going to believe this. So I went to the store, and according to them, as I went to go purchase these croissants off of the shelf, you can no longer purchase them with your EBT card because it's pre-baked. So anything pre-baked, sodas, granola, and they want you to start baking from scratch. If you ain't baking from scratch, you ain't eating anymore. Because all these pre-made things that you could get, pre-made croissants, pre-made muffins, pre-made...
You're getting free money for food because you don't want to work. Yeah. So you have the time to bake.
And look at those eyelashes. I wonder how much they cost her.
I wonder how much that tat
or the tattoo,
whatever, even if it's cold because you can't buy hot, you ain't eating if it's pre-made. So those TV dinners and all that, you ain't gonna be eating unless you getting some flour, sugar, milk, baking soda, and whipping it up together.
See, she knows how to cook. She just doesn't want to.
Yeah, it's called real food.
Yeah, it's whole food. You got to cook it yourself. You got to make it yourself.
And rolling it out on a pan. So you better be Betty Crocker coming around the corner and start learning some stuff.
That's awesome. What was the other one you mentioned?
Oh, do we want to know about the Biden DOJ and with in the cahoots with SPLC?
Yeah. There we go.
I think we all could have figured that one out.
From this is from the Federalist, which is a good thing. Let's see. Brianna Lyman. Biden DOJ was in cahoots with SPI, it's the Southern Poverty Law Center, as it funded extremist groups, former official admits. We did this story a week or two ago, and it was about the Southern Poverty Law Center. For you guys across the pond, is it's an organization that it even named Charlie Kirk as a racist, as like a terrorist racist, whatever they call him. It doesn't matter. But even Charlie Kirk, they said he had a problem. Okay, it's just anybody and they've been around really to help the Democrats, because what they'll do is they'll demonize someone on the right, and then the Democrats, well, the Southern Poverty Law Center, they're an austere organization, you know. Yeah, well, they were paying all the bad guys, the real bad guys, Democrats in white sheets, right?
Here's the fact about that.
What's
the Southern Poverty Law Center wants there to be racism out there.
Oh yeah, because they get money, they get more donations from people.
If there was no racism, the fact is, in this country, the demand for racism far exceeds the supply.
Oh yeah,
and they want there to be racism because
they make money off it. They're grifting.
How else do they get their donations?
Yeah, but the thing is, they were I think they're a 501c3, so they don't pay taxes. Number two, they demonize the shit out of people for the Democrats.
Oh yeah, well they do that. Yeah, the thing is, the underlying principle by which they were connected to all of these groups,
right,
is self-promotion. It's just like the NRA. They didn't get in bed with the enemy, but the NRA, the National Rifle Association, for anybody who's still an American, they were said to be pretty ineffective most of the time at getting gun regulations overturned. Well, they don't want the gun laws overturned, because as soon as we get all the gun laws overturned, they're out of a job.
Who, the NRA?
Yeah.
No, the NRA did a lot of things where they
the
got
NRA is a useless tit of an organization.
No, hold on.
Yeah,
No.
They really are.
Now, I was an NRA member for about 20 years, and the NRA were the ones. Why do you think Letitia James went after them? Why do you think? Because they came up with the best and most effective campaign commercials for Republicans.
Yeah, they come up with good commercials, but when we don't want them to go up against ridiculous laws, they don't want to do that. They put up a really poor effort. The other gun groups out there, like National Association for Gun Rights, Second Amendment Foundation, the Colorado, Rocky Mountain Gun Owners, RMGO, they are all far more effective. And in many cases, what happened, and because the NRA was all alone initially, and all these other groups came up and, started to be much more no compromise, and the NRA was caught scrambling. And so what they have a tendency to do is when one of these other groups or, several of the groups get together and they're about to, have some good outcome in the courts, the NRA will append their name to the end of the sheet to say, oh yeah, look, we were involved in this. Yeah, no, the NRA has been particularly ineffective at overturning the unconstitutional gun laws in this country because they say they're fighting them and they put up this thing that looks like a fight and they keep getting donations because they say, oh, send us money so we can keep fighting.
I'm gonna research that because I don't believe that. I think that they have been effective. I just think that there's some state laws, yeah, but the feds, it says shall not be infringed. I mean, the NRA has been very effective at holding off more gun control laws that have been proposed than actually getting rid of gun control laws. Because once they're on the books, it's very hard to get. You got to go to the Supreme Court for that. But they have been effective at stopping gun control laws, and the only way that they can do it is by putting out those commercials.
Yeah, they've been effective years
ago. Very
ago.
Effective.
Years ago, maybe. Years ago, maybe.
But recently, yeah, because Letitia James, they were a New York entity. A lot of people don't know that. They were based out of New York.
Yeah, they were
right?
based out of New York.
Now they're in Texas, I believe. But they left New York because Letitia James went after them for things because think about it this way. When the pandemic came along, okay, that's when they went after the NRA because that was the Republicans' number one effective commercials on TV. Number two, who did they go after? They went after businesses. They shut down businesses because business owners were very low. Yeah, Wayne LaPierre was a criminal.
Yeah,
I mean, he was good for the NRA, but he was a criminal.
Were you around when they investigated Wayne LaPierre and his $6,000 suits and his private jets to take his?
Yes, I was, but that doesn't take away from accomplishments of the NRA.
Listen, we're bogging this thing down in a single topic. We should.
Well, you started it. All right, so you started it. All right, let me read it. All right. The Biden administration's Department of Justice and FBI were aware that the Southern Poverty Law Center was paying informants, paying them in the KKK. And according to former Obama official Norm Eisen, that apparently means donors have nothing to be upset about. The SPLC, which has spent years demonizing conservatives, including the Federalist, was indicted by a federal grand jury last month for wire fraud and conspiracy to commit concealment money laundering. The SPLC allegedly funneled millions of dollars it received via donations to pay a covert network of informants who were part of violent extremist groups such as the groups like the KKK. The press release for the indictment alleges that SPLC did not disclose to its donors that some of their donated money was being used to fund the leaders and organizers of racist groups. At the same time, the SPLC was denouncing the same groups on its website. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said in a statement that the SPLC was manufacturing racism to justify its own existence.
Bingo.
But during a virtual press conference Wednesday held by Democracy Defenders Fund, Eisen suggested the SPLC defrauding donors by funding the KKK could not have been wrong because Biden's justice agencies were aware of it. How stupid do you got to be to have that line of thinking? to have that line of thinking. Right.
It's called
they were unindicted co-conspirators. That's what they were. Associate Attorney General in the Biden administration, Vanita Gupta, noted that the indictment describes the SPLC's paid informant program inside extremist organizations, which, as acting AG Blanche has confirmed, regularly shared information with federal law enforcement, which I can attest to, having been the beneficiary and having our federal prosecutors been the beneficiary of this type of intel. Now, let me say this, okay? And this, you're going to think it's this crazy town, but no, I think that because we've seen so many effed up things that the Biden administration has done. All right, things that you were like, oh my God, how could they do that? You know, how do they get away with that? Because who's going to prosecute them? Merrick Garland, right? So I think that they knew about this, that they were in on it, right? And that they were helping to make SPLC look like they were doing informants, that they were paying informants. The problem is when you use an informant, that informant's information is supposed to be handed over to law enforcement. SPLC never did that once. You know, oh, we paid for these informants and they found out all this dirty information about the KKK and the national, whatever they are, you know, and here you go, officer, just take this. You know, no, that never happened. Never happened. So they're full of shit. They were doing it, like he said, to make money. Gupta,
their informants were instigators.
Gupta unironically said SPLC has been working to keep communities safe from violence and racially motivated terror, despite themselves funding racially motivated terror. Eisen then chimed in to suggest that the grand jury transcripts must be released so that it could be determined whether the grand jury knew that the Department of Justice and the FBI knew that informants were being utilized and paid by the SPLC, the whole basis of this indictment, as if collusion with the federal government makes the funding permissible. That's exactly what they're trying to say. And you know, I mean, I don't think there was really an honest person in the Biden administration. I just don't. I trust a hell of a lot more people in this administration than I ever did in the Biden administration. You know, there were a few that were trustworthy in Obama's, but just a few. But in Biden, they were all a bunch of cowardly liars. All of them. Quote, the claim that SPLC committed financial crimes when what they're accused of using paid informants, they weren't paid informants. They were telling, look, they funded the tiki torching guys down at Charlottesville. And then the press made it look like they lied and made it look like Trump said that they were very fine people. I mean, they funded that shit. They gave the guy that was one of the organizers $270,000 over 8 years to do this kind of stuff. They funded it. Told them, yeah, come on, buy some tiki torches and wear the same clothes. You know? So the claim that SPLC committed financial crimes when what they're accused of using paid informants is common practice across law enforcement agencies. It does not hold water. That's particularly true because, as you've heard today, the SPLC was known to the DOJ and the FBI. Yeah, okay. So then why didn't the FBI or the DOJ ever come out and say, yes, we arrested these guys because of the information that the SPLC got us? Right?
Yeah, that'd be an easy question. How many arrests occurred because of information fed to them through the SPLC? Someone
Died during the Charlottesville thing. You remember that guy drove his car into the crowd and killed a woman. And they funded it.
They paid the guy who organized it.
They funded for the Tiki Torch guys to start fighting with the other side. And that fight turned into a riot and a woman was killed. So we can't take this stuff lightly. But just because it was known to the DOJ and FBI doesn't make the SPLC actions right. According to the DOJ's press, I think they were in on it, and I think that the Biden administration knew about it, but they were egging them on. Yeah, do it, because we're going around and think about that. Joe Biden was verbatim repeating from the teleprompter all the crap that SPLC was telling him. This is how we know that, and remember how he spoke, right? This is how we know that white supremacy is the worst terror of domestic. You know, I mean, he kept saying it day after day. Yeah, white supremacy. And I'm like, where the fuck are all these white supremacists? I don't see it. Do you know a white supremacist? You know, but it was all fed to them from the SPLC. So here it is. Just because the DOJ and the FBI doesn't make the SPLC's actions right. According to the DOJ's press release, the SPLC obtained money via donations through materially false representations and omissions about what the donated funds would be used for. The SPLC allegedly opened bank accounts connected to a series of fictitious entities. What do they call that? To
Fraud.
covertly... What's that?
Fraud.
Yeah, it's fraud, right? To covert, and what are those entities? Shell organizations, shell companies.
Excuse me while I look up. Hang on a second. Okay. Open to pay. Okay. Fraud. Definition. A crime.
There you go. To covertly pay the individuals involved in the scheme. The DOJ alleges such covert accounts allowed the SPLC to disguise the true nature, source, ownership, and control of the fraudulently obtained donated money the SPLC paid to the individuals. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Let me see this. Here we go.
Here's one that might be fun.
Well, I got one from Doc Rich. Let me play. It's a short, but let me play that, and then we'll do whatever you want. Here you go. Ready?
Watch this video clip until the end if you want to understand why Trump is doing what he's doing. All right? Now check it out.
Dino, the UAE just left OPEC. What is OPEC, and is this a big deal? Is it going to impact oil?
I think OPEC stands for the Organization for Petroleum Exporting Countries. I don't know.
Okay.
I think that's what it means. So basically, it's a cartel.
Yeah.
Right?
It is.
The oil world is an oligopoly. That means there's a few players only that have the oil. So it's like an oligopoly. And then within that oligopoly, an oligopoly is like a monopoly, but with several players. Within that, OPEC is like a cartel. And what OPEC does, if you're a member of OPEC, they control production, they control pricing. They'll say like, hey, we want prices per barrel of oil to be this much. And then what happens is, so each of you member countries can only produce so much because it's a supply and demand thing.
So they collude on pricing.
They price setting. So the UAE leaving OPEC, why? It's because they want to be a regional player. They're moving closer towards the West, the US, meaning in their ally, things that they do as a good ally of the US, they're moving towards like us, coming towards us. So they're leaving the cartel because they have excess production capacity. They've spent so much money on building out their infrastructure to produce more oil that they're like, hey, I don't want to be controlled. I want to be able to sell more, especially after what's happening in Iran right now. The whole global geopolitical structure is going to change over there, and it looks like they just want to move closer to us and be free of any price control, so they can sell more oil, and make more money basically, because things are changing. But what the impact is because OPEC is a cartel. As more cartel members leave, they have less control over the price. So the long-term, academic view on this, logically, is if they leave, maybe more other people leave, and more people who leave means there's more supply coming into the market because there's more suppliers now not being controlled. So more oil, more supply, oil prices could drop, basically.
That's good.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. And what was the one you wanted?
I want to hear about St. Paul's illegal alien mayor.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I'll get down to her. There she is. This is crazy. They actually elected an illegal alien. Look at us. We're great. We elected an illegal alien. Holy mackerel. Okay. St. Paul's new illegal alien mayor vows to fight ICE.
Of course.
I am illegal in this country, she says. Oh, my goodness. I think Honen's going to make a visit to her. I am illegal in this country. My parents are illegal here in this country. What kind of balls do you have to say something like that? Especially today. She ran in the 2025 St. Paul mayoral election on a promise to fight ICE and protect illegal aliens. While she lost the election, how's she mayor then? Oh, all right, we got to read that. She ran in St. Paul mayoral election on a promise to fight her. While she lost the election, the usual ranked choice shenanigans that elevated Mamdani in New York City and other urban leftists put her ahead of Melvin Carter III, who was not an illegal. Wow. In her inaugural address, Mayor Kaoli, her described.
Her is her name, I guess.
Kaoli, her. Okay. Her described. I can't. It's like a pronoun for her. Described federal immigration enforcement as an unprecedented incursion that we must meet head on. Yeah, they're going to meet you head on and throw your ass out. She spoke while surrounded by minority female politicians, as well as Robert Susan Kimberly Sylvester, a former deputy mayor who now claims to be a transgender woman. My God. This secessionist rhetoric was soon paired with a secessionist ordinance commanding federal law enforcement not to operate on city-owned property, as if St. Paul had somehow seceded from the United States. Quote, when ICE comes here again, we are working together as a community. Let's not forget who the aggressor is here. Yeah, you guys aggressively came over the border illegally and you stayed. Shortly after taking office, ICE carried out a raid at the home of a friend of the mayor, a fellow Hmong, who had been allegedly living with two sexual predators, one of whom was wanted for sexual assault against a minor, rape, and kidnapping, while the other, these are all just winners, aren't they? While the other was wanted for sexual assault and gang activity. Mayor Xi described the raid as heartbreaking and claimed, I don't know how anybody looking at that could ever justify the treatment of another human being that way.
Wait.
Oh, yeah, you take
it. How do you justify the treatment of somebody? Yes, yes, right there. You're going to justify that?
Yeah.
That's okay.
I don't know how anybody looking at that can ever justify the treatment of another human being that way. So how do we justify your treatment
of another human being?
Of another human being that for sexual, you're supporting sexual assault against a minor.
Yeah,
rape and kidnapping.
Any sexual assault is pretty disgusting, but
it's a crime. It's the worst thing you can do, except bullet in the head.
It's a crime. It's disgusting, but on a minor, anybody who abuses a minor needs to be hung up, drawn and quartered. We need to go medieval on their ass. Okay.
Yeah, we do, including women. Yeah, we do.
Oh, I don't care. I don't care. A minor, just go medieval on their ass. I don't care. Just axe to the head, hanging up by the testicles, whatever.
Fact checkers, we're just kidding. Not. All right. Her's administration is now reportedly teaching open borders activists, can you believe this, how to confront and challenge federal immigration enforcement officers. You're going to be Renee Gooded. The former community organizer, the former community organizer brazenly claimed that I have family members who haven't opened their drapes in days because they're afraid someone can see in and see that they're Asian. What? This seems wildly plausible. Most people who are around Asian, they go, oh, okay, I'm safe. I mean, unless they want to do some math on me. This seems wildly implausible for anyone who is legally in the United States. The question is whether Kaoli Hare is one of those people. Before her declaration that I am illegal in this country went viral, Hare explained that she was a citizen by way of her family committing immigration fraud. What? Because his mother had died, my father, as the one processing the paperwork, put my grandmother down as his mother, and so I am illegal in this country. Yes, the same way Ilhan Omar is illegal because her father lied about why they were coming into the United States. A more detailed explanation was offered by Hare in a cleanup chat with the Minnesota Reformer. Do Republicans get cleanup chats? I don't think so. Offering an even more troubling and corrupt explanation. Quote, Hare's father worked at the U.S. consulate and he processed their family's paperwork in a way to expedite their timeline to immigrate to the U.S. as refugees. People who were set to come to the U.S. as refugees could do so quicker if they had family connections to the military, CIA, or USAID.
RIP.
Right. What?
USAID, RIP.
Yeah, rest in peace. Her said her family, she's got to change her name. Her said her family didn't qualify for those pipelines, but an uncle, in the Hmong familial sense of the word, a family friend, worked for USAID. When her father, that's killing me, processed the refugee paperwork, he claimed familial connection to the friend that worked for USAID, which wasn't accurate. By wasn't accurate, Mayor Herr appeared to mean fraudulent and completely false. In either version of the explanation, Herr's family committed naturalization fraud and can potentially be denaturalized and deported. No wonder then that Herr fears ICE so much. Well, we don't have to read it anymore. She's an illegal and she should be booted out.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
yeah, she should absolutely be booted out.
Somewhat inaccurate. Yeah. Yeah, it was just that the paperwork was somewhat inaccurate. That's all.
Hey, Special K, what's up, man? What's 62?
62 in July. Is that a temperature?
Oh, it'll be 52 again. Yeah, 62. Yeah, I guess.
Oh, he's turning 62 in July.
Oh, in July you're turning 62. Okay, I turned 62 5 days ago. I don't look a day over 61. 52 kids.
Oh yeah, and see what Commander said.
What do you say? Okay. Oh, and so you know, my back is 80, my knees are 70. You get it. Yeah. Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah, my knees exceed my chronological.
Yeah, let's see. Susan Kokinda is from she's from Promethean Action, and if you don't sub them, you should. She is in a war. They've been around for years, this organization, right? And very political, and they're the good guys. And she's been talking about how UK government for like 80 years has been the globalists starting wars that help them, trying to screw Trump's economic policy, and they're just fit to be tied because he actually just stopped their globalist policies and whatnot. So let me put it up. This is a short. But anytime I see her, I watch her.
Held its autopsy on the last 100 years of their ability to manipulate the United States in a special relationship last week. And their end game ultimately is they got to stop Donald Trump.
Right.
Because they've also admitted, as in the recent House of Lords report, which assesses the US-UK no longer so special relationship, if over the next 2.5 years, Trump's strategic and economic revolution is codified, they're admitting it won't matter who comes in after that. It is going to be very hard to reverse a lot of these things.
That's what he's doing.
Start to feel the impact of tariffs and the revival of American manufacturing and the reshaping of our economy as a viable economy where people have jobs where one income can raise a family. They're not going to give that up that easily. Where people see how the strategic games of the empire, as we're seeing unraveled now with the conflict with Iran, once people see how that operates and that all the United States has to stand up and say, no, we're not playing your games any longer. We're not going to kowtow to your free trade policies. We're not going to kowtow to your Lloyd's of London insurance monopoly. We're not going to kowtow to your oil monopolies or your meatpacking monopoly, as the administration talked about last Monday. Once it starts to sink in, what it feels to actually be an independent sovereign nation, and midterms are going to be critical in terms of the president being able to just steamroll through the next 2.5 years with these policies. Even the House of Lords is admitting it's going to be very difficult to turn this back. So I think they have really only two things up their sleeve at this point. One is what we've seen with the assassination attempts against President Trump. And two,
yeah, she concludes, she purports that that London was behind that partially. She has evidence that she pointed out in several other videos.
Is to try and disorient enough Americans so that the president's party loses the midterms, and then they can sabotage his agenda for the next 2 years.
Right.
I think, honestly, I don't know what else they have besides those two strategies, because just pretending that you've pulled together, as Barbara said, a coalition of the impotent and the weak and the stupid, I might add. You can sit around in as many rooms as you want to, but you're not going to influence the world if the United States, Russia, China, and other great powers are talking to each other and saying, no, we're not playing by your rules any longer.
Right.
Chatham House.
And that's exactly what Trump is doing.
Yeah,
He's
and
saying, globalism's over. We ain't playing your game anymore.
If you think about it, in a lot of ways, Europe has more reason to get rid of Trump than China or Russia.
Right.
Because the EU, they hate Trump.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Why? Because he's everything that they aren't.
Right. Well, because, yeah, I think globalism now, for right now it is because they admitted it. They say, yeah, globalism's over, but they're still in the background trying to stir it up again. Did you hear what Macron just did? He basically, he went to China, and coming back to the reporters, he trashed Trump, trashed the United States, trashed our allies. I mean, what he did is huge, and I think it's going to cost him. I honestly do. I don't know why he did it, but I think it's going to cost him. I've said many times over the last decades that President Trump should transition into a woman, change nothing about his look, and then run in 2028. That's funny. Yeah, it is. But Trump actually shut down the British government's globalism. And with USAID not paying all those NGOs that go overseas and throw money at them so that they could do policies that say, screw the United States. Yeah. I mean, things are changing.
Yeah. Let's just say globalism is still out there, but it ain't healthy.
I'd like to see it die a very slow and painful death.
Especially painful.
Yeah. Especially painful. You got it. So hold on. I got another one. She made the Gateway Pundit. Let's play this one. It's called Forget Conventional Wisdom. Please don't try to apply previous rules. We're in a revolution. Watch. Get down to it. I got to make it.
What you hear a lot of is the conventional wisdom about midterm elections, i.e. the party in power loses. Well, my message is very straightforward. This is neither a conventional midterm, nor is this a conventional president.
Right.
So please don't try and apply previous rules. And as Barbara just indicated, I think what just happened in Indiana is extremely important, because all of the talking heads, so much of what in the social media sphere is the terrible shape that Trump is in, or he's selling out, or he's going to be destroyed by high gas prices, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all of that is pretty much in the world of normal politics. We're in a revolution, and that's what people have to understand. And I think that is the message that people have to think through. How do you communicate that as we're organizing for the midterms? This is not your typical one from column A or one from column B, but rather we're building an entirely new restaurant with an entirely new menu.
Right.
And it's called the American system, and it's called a world of sovereign nations. And that's where people have to put their heads. So I think people have to put their heads into the same space as President Trump. He often does outrageous things.
Yeah,
when even we here sometimes go, ouch, did he have to do that? And then you realize, yeah, he did.
Right.
Because he is just in a completely different place in terms of creating a brand new future, breaking the globalist constraints, which have gotten tighter and tighter for over 100 years. And he's just not playing their game any longer.
Right.
So I think it's extremely important. And I think, as Barbara said, as soon as he gets back from China and we dot the I's and cross the T's with the Iran conflict, and again, you can't say for certainty that it'll be smooth sailing. But once you get that more or less under control, I think he is going to be out of the gate on the question of the economy in ways that you have never seen before. And of course, our job here at Promethean Action is to magnify that.
Yep.
And, you know, yeah, he's not a normal president. I mean, no president, you know, only one president previously had been elected to 2 non-consecutive terms.
Mm-hmm.
And it couldn't happen. It wasn't going to happen.
Right.
And, well, yeah, nothing he does. There's been a couple of times, but really, really less than a handful of times where I've kind of cringed a very little at some things he said. But you know what? I absolutely love the pearl clutching that he causes to the lunatic leftoid Marxists.
Yeah.
He says things and you can just see everybody out there going, you know, deep in breath and grabbing their pearls.
Yep. Here's Scott Jennings. I think he throws an F-bomb in this one. Watch it.
Honestly, they have been at war with us for 47
We all know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars. Now this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat? Is that
Homie,
what you
I
have?
debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going
Name
your way.
one political
Get your
concession.
fucking hand out of my
Name
face
one political
first.
concession.
Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy's
Everybody, hang tight.
Honestly.
Okay. No, everybody, calm down. Okay. We're having a debate. You can respond to the points that he's making.
Can you name a political concession that we've got?
We had a flashback to the war the skinheads had in my studio.
I would be mad if I had to defend war
We
too. I would be mad if I had to defend war.
Scott, you can respond.
We have a
and then
very
we'll move
simple. We have a very simple goal: to keep terrorists and a terrorist regime from having a nuclear weapon that can threaten the United States, our interests in the region, our allies in Europe, anybody else
So
in
you
the world.
can't answer the question. Thank you. I would get mad too.
All right, we're going to leave it there, guys. Next for us.
Scott Jennings. See that guy, the leftist on there. I forget his name, but he's a piece of shit. He's a bold-faced liar. He makes things up. He gets nailed. He's one of those young guys. There's another one, Harry Sisson or something like
Harry
that.
Sisson.
Listen, he's another one. It's just like that. He's full of crap. Hang on. What's this one say?
Do we want to hear about Hakeem Jeffries?
Yeah, let's do that. His brewing nightmare. Yeah, he brought it all on himself, too. Jeffries caves to far left as redistricting fight blows up on Dems. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries may find himself caught in the very blue wave he hopes to ride into power this November. More and more Democratic candidates are telling Axios that they can't promise to support his leadership. This group, and he'll say it's racism, right? It's all racist. This group of new students could potentially be the first challenge to the previously unyielding support. Nice. A group of viable candidates has made it clear that voting for Jeffries as Speaker is not a given if the Democrats win the House. Actually, in other words, I think the new Democrats trying to come in are sick of the Pelosi's and they are sick of Hakeem Jeffries because all they give a damn about, if you think about it, what has Nancy Pelosi done or Hakeem Jeffries for the betterment of America? Nothing. Everything for them is anti-Trump or pro-Democrat Party. So Axios reported last fall that more than 80 Democratic House candidates across the country were either not sure if they would support Jeffries' leadership or were completely against it. Since then, things have only gotten worse for him because he doesn't know how to speak. He says things that, like, he sounds vengeful. Who wants to have a leader that sounds vengeful like that? They'll say, oh, Trump is vengeful. Trump has a reason to be vengeful because they threw lawfare at his ass, right? Maya Vang, the leading progressive primary challenger, Representative Doris Matsui, Democrat, California, previously said she would support the person that my future colleagues elect as our leader. But in an unprompted statement last week, she told Axios the Democratic Party and its leadership, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, have failed to mobilize meaningful opposition to Trump's illegal war. What illegal war? and silence the AIPAC and corporations flood congressional primaries with millions of dollars is deafening. Yeah, and your dark money is just totally legal, right? When asked if she would support Jeffrey's leadership, Claire Valdez, a New York State Assembly member who was running to replace Representative Nydia Velázquez, said in an interview with Axios that there would need to be some conversations. Yeah, they don't like this guy. Some candidates who are against Jeffries have suggested other options. A progressive candidate, Annabelle Mendoza, progressive candidate in Illinois, told Axios that she wants Representative Rashida Tlaib to be in charge because she is 10 toes down on what matters. Are you kidding me? Rashida Tlaib? Really? That's who she wants? Holy cow. She is she's a dollar store Ilhan Omar. Some candidates said that if Democrats don't win the House, talks about Jeffrey's leadership will probably be completely different. Also, the redistricting fight is now going very badly for Democrats. On April 22, House Democrats were riding high. They just won a huge gamble in Virginia, spending tens of millions of dollars on a redistricting referendum aimed at netting them up to 4 new seats. President Donald Trump, who set off the unprecedented redistricting fight in Texas, that's bullshit. I don't know why the conservative brief. Oh, no, they're reporting Punchbowl News. Okay, Donald Trump did not start that, and Texas didn't start it. It was New York. Last year was tanking in the polls. No, he wasn't. Dragging down Republicans. No, he wasn't. Everywhere. Overall, it looked like Democrats had held Republicans to a draw in the redistricting wars and were on their way to a House majority. But the last 2 weeks have suddenly turned rough for House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and the Democratic caucus. They're facing legal setbacks on redistricting across multiple fronts, developments that have reshaped the battle for the House. As many as 10 seats could now swing toward, it's going to be up to 18, toward Republicans in a worst-case scenario for Democrats, although this all remains very fluid, the outlet. Yeah, it's all very fluid. Good Lord. In a worst-case scenario for Democrats, as many as 10 seats, no, it's up to 18, might suddenly flip to Republicans. But it is all still very fluid. Didn't they just? Okay. What's obvious is that the Supreme Court's decision to eviscerate Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act and another late round of GOP redistricting have substantially changed the fortunes of Democrats. That's right. Florida Republicans, for starters, pushed through an aggressive gerrymander that might oust 4 Democrats from the delegation. Even many Republicans were stunned by the plan from GOP Governor Ron DeSantis. Then Virginia's Supreme Court indicated it was contemplating overturning the Democrats' hard-won referendum trial. Hard-won. They cheated. They broke their own laws. Nobody knows what will happen there. This must have been written before because they did rule against it. Plus, a Supreme Court decision, Louisiana v. Calais, has opened up several seats across the South, notably in Louisiana, Alabama, South Carolina, and Tennessee. Exactly. Virginia Democrats are now starting to worry that the Virginia Supreme Court will strike down. Well, they did. They actually did. So that must have been written like yesterday. What is this? The Aborigines. We even have Aborigines wanting the white Australia policy back. Really? What was Linda? What was that policy? White Australia policy. What is that? I never heard of that. What even is DRIPA? Let me see. I wonder what Uncle Claus meant when he was talking about rebuilding trust in government. Trust in government. I don't think it'll ever happen again. But parents are in. Let's see. Here we go. Here's one. This is Benny. Let's play it. Benny Johnson talking about Seth Rogen. Here we go.
Seth Rogen is a fat, degenerate Canadian pothead, and I'm not sure which of those 4 things I hate the most, but he's also childless. He's 44 years old, so's his wife, and so they'll never have children, and he went viral for talking about that choice and encouraging other people to not have children. While I totally agree that people like Seth Rogen should not procreate, I'm glad that they're cutting themselves out of the gene pool. I do not agree with his messaging. I have a reaction after this. Listen.
That you don't need to have kids. Yeah, you don't need to have kids. Also, like, won't the world not be here in 30 years? People describe having kids, as like brief glimmering moments of beauty amongst a sea of pain. It kind of, whereas not having kids is just, it's just lovely all the time. There's none of that. It's just great all day. I'm never like, I wish I had kids and I'm missing something by not having them. I more am doing stuff all the time where I look over at my wife and she looks at me and we're like, if we had kids, we couldn't do this. Yeah. This wouldn't even remotely be on the table all the time as me. Why would I?
Is that like not the most selfish attitude you've ever heard, Jade?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people who share that selfish attitude.
Yeah. Are you one of them? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't have kids, but that's a medical issue.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
And
I'm saying what he's saying. He's got millions of dollars. His wife probably does too. And they're saying, in other words, they're saying we don't want to give all of our lumping around to by having kids.
Well, I think
they can have kids. Apparently, they don't want to because they don't want to give up their lifestyle.
And that's superficial. It stems from the fact that they feel no drive to contribute to the human system, to the human experience.
Don't get me wrong. Like Benny, I'm very happy that they are not procreating.
Yeah, I'm happy that they didn't. Yeah,
Right.
my problem is different, but
yeah, I know.
We don't need to get into that.
But I'm saying for people like this, where they could, and they just don't want to because they don't want to give up partying.
Yeah, and I'm saying a lot of people share their selfishness.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, they're all called Democrats, most of them.
And most of them are liberals. And
Right.
I'm very glad that they're not reproducing.
Oh, yeah.
But that's why they have to come and steal our kids.
Yeah, exactly.
What? It's us time, but meanwhile, we do it together. Our voices of that you don't need to have kids. Yeah, you don't need to have kids.
We have fun. We have fun with kids. Could we have fun with kids? Oh no.
And let me show you like an example of what Seth Rogen is having fun with. Here's a recent video of Seth Rogen with his newest invention, a table to roll joints on. He's really thrilled about this because Seth Rogen's entire life is just pure selfishness. This is something that Seth completely misses in his description of what it means to actually have a fulfilling and meaningful life. It doesn't mean self-service. Even people like Seth Rogen demand that we have social services in this country, that people work hard for others. Ultimate sacrifice is having children. The ultimate sacrifice for society is raising those children to be good and productive members of society. If a single generation, and we're dangerously close to this in many countries, started thinking like Seth Rogen, all of humanity is over. Seth Rogen's idea that I should just live for myself all the time forever is a suicidal ideation. It's something that would eliminate an entire race of people, an entire culture of people. That's why it's not like inborn in your human nature. It's why your great grandparents, who are better, stronger people, certainly than us today, that they had like 12 kids because they knew that that was the actual path to a fulfilling and purposeful life. Although, again, I'll state, perfectly happy for Seth Rogen to not be procreating. It's the best news of the day, actually.
Exactly. Best news of the day. Gotta love it. Let's see. Having children. What? Having children is not a sacrifice. It's not. Yeah, it's a blessing. But
I mean,
especially Christians, they understand you got to have kids.
I mean, it's kind of what we're here to do.
Right.
Some people do better job at it than others.
Yeah. I want to do this one at James Comey.
Oh,
yeah, I want to do this one. It's conservative brief again. Just assigned to fired FBI Director James Comey's case, a judge. So a federal judge has been assigned to preside over fired FBI Director James Comey's case after the Justice Department issued new charges against him late last month. U.S. District Judge Louise W. Flanagan of the Eastern District of North Carolina not D.C., was appointed by George W. Bush and is considered to be right-leaning according to Ballotpedia. But years on a bench changes you. You want to be loved by the media. Flanagan received a random case assignment on Tuesday after a grand jury indicted Comey on charges alleging that he threatened Trump by posting a photo on Instagram. Sure, he did. Now, do I think it means he threatened Trump? I'm going to kill you. No, but he sent the dog whistle out to the fucking lunatics on the left that you should kill Trump, right? By posting a photo on Instagram that featured seashells arranged with an 86-47 pattern in May 2025. And you know what the smoking gun on that was? When he wrote again, he posted again and said, I had no idea that people thought of 86 in that manner.
Oh, please.
Who the hell doesn't know that? Who doesn't know that?
He was the head of the FBI. How would he
I
know
said that.
that?
I said that when he first said it. We talked about it then. And I said he was the head. He weaseled his way up to the head of the FBI, and he doesn't know what 86 means.
Please.
She has presided over thousands of cases throughout her tenure as an Article III judge. The U.S. Senate confirmed her as a federal district court judge in July 2003. Prior to this, she served as a federal magistrate judge. You know, they're the ones that make a couple decisions and they empty the trash cans at night, and worked at the law firm Sonnenschein, Nath and Rosenthal, the three wise men in Washington, D.C., before it merged with Denton's, the ABA Journal reports. In an interview last weekend, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche made it clear that Comey's indictment was the result of a year-long investigation and had much more to it than his seashell photo posted on Instagram. Quote, every case requires an investigation, and what you just showed is one part of that investigation. What you just showed is the Instagram post. Rest assured that the career assistant U.S. state's attorneys in North Carolina, the career FBI agents, the career Secret Service agents that investigated this case didn't just look at the Instagram post and walk away. That's why you saw an indictment last week, notwithstanding the fact that it was last May that the post was made. So I am not permitted to get into details of what the grand jury just heard or found, as you know, but rest assured that it's not just the Instagram post that leads somebody to get indicted, right? Meanwhile, federal prosecutors in the Eastern District of Virginia have revived a dormant investigation into whether Comey illegally leaked classified, and he did, to a trusted media cutout. Two people familiar with the matter said, creating a third active criminal front against the longtime Trump antagonist. The case centers on Comey's decision to hand over sensitive memos documenting his private conversations with then President Donald Trump to Columbia University law professor Daniel Richman, who then fed the material to the New York Times. That is a classic leak, which is a felony, and he should have been fired for that. The disclosures, and he should have been charged. It's a violation of the Espionage Act. The disclosures form the basis of the May 2017 front page story that fueled the Russia collusion narrative early in Trump's first term. This is James Comey in February 2020 talking to his friend Daniel Richman.
How we should think as law students about the report and the way it dealt with what you perceive to have been your role in it.
I think the Mueller report reflects an extraordinary piece of work by a talented group of people. And
remember, Mueller showed that he lost his mind when he did the follow-up with Congress. He was not all there.
Failed in the overall mission. And here's what I mean by this.
So in other words, he failed because he did not find any evidence of Russian collusion that this nitwit, this lying piece of crap, knows there wasn't any.
Those two things.
He knows it.
I thought a special counsel was really important and needed.
No, you didn't. You wanted to get Trump.
And shortly before I was fired, Rod Rosenstein had become the Deputy Attorney General and had promised that when he took office to consider whether to appoint a special prosecutor. And after I got fired and the president started tweeting at me about the prospect of tapes, then I really thought there needed to be a special prosecutor and took some steps that I thought might hasten that involved.
This was the same guy who was in the briefing with Orr, who was the Assistant Deputy Attorney General at the time. Bruce Orr was his name. And he told Comey, he told McCabe, he told Weissman, that jackass. He told a lot of people that were in on Crossfire Hurricane, don't use the Steele dossier because it's garbage. They said, how do you know that? Because my wife wrote it. She was hired to write it because her specialty's in Russia. It's all garbage. And he signed 3 of the 4 FISAs. It was only one FISA, but you got to renew it every so many months. It was done 4 times. He signed 3 of the 4, knowing that it was bullshit.
You probably ruined your life. And I'm still grateful for your help because I do think it was powerfully in the public interest to get the story out that there was a reason for a special counsel to pursue.
There was no reason
tapes in
for
the
it.
White House.
There was no reason for that shit. I hope he goes down.
I hope he goes down really hard. They should throw the book at him.
Oh, they should. They absolutely should. Let me see if there's. Here we go. There's the Barack Obama. It's let's see. Let's go. This is dangerous. Barack Obama loses it after Trump's Department of Justice informs him that a president has broad authority amid his criticisms. So let's see. Let's see how he loses it. This isn't Obama.
It's not coming up.
Oh, really? I said to share it. Hold on. It wasn't sharing at all?
Yeah, well, now we're down to just a picture of you and me.
I know. I shut it off. But do you see it now?
There it is.
All right. It was there before. Let me get to Obama, though. Where is it? They don't have a video? All right, then I'll read it. Former President Barack Hussein Milhouse Benito Obama sharply criticized the Trump administration this week over what he described as growing political influence inside the United States Department of Justice. Can you believe he has the freaking balls to say that? He literally told the DOJ and the intel community to throw out the intel assessment that said that Russia did not have the capacity to help him win 2016 and to make up your own shit. And he just said that, prompting an aggressive response from Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, defending both the administration's prosecutions of President Trump's authority over the executive branch. So let's listen to Todd Blanche.
FBI agents raided the office of powerful Virginia state. What is the nature of that investigation? And is she herself under investigation?
It's an ongoing investigation. So just like with what we talked about in Minnesota a few minutes ago, there are times when an investigation goes overt and you execute search warrants. That's what happened today. It would not be fair to anybody involved for me to comment beyond that. This was a law enforcement operation during the course of a criminal investigation.
What was that about? I thought we were reading. Let's see. Blanche forcefully rejected accusations that DOJ is engaged in political retaliation. See, one administration weaponized the Department of Justice to go after a duly elected president. He was president-elect at the time, but then they had their minions who were still in the administration because Trump didn't know to fire them because they were enemies of him, right? He didn't know it at the time. So now they're saying Trump going after them for that wrongdoing, right? That is retaliation. No, it's called accountability. Because Article 2 says the executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States of America, Blanche said, while holding a pocket copy of the Constitution during the interview. It does not say that the Attorney General stands off to the side. Blanche emphasized that the Attorney General serves within the executive branch and argued that presidents are fully entitled to direct priorities involving law enforcement, immigration, drugs, and national security. To the extent that President Trump calls me and says that he thinks we have a problem in this country, whether it's the scourge of drugs, illegal immigration, every American wants him to do that, Blanche said, and he should. So let me see what the top part. Yeah. It's like these people, like you think about it, they actually weaponized the DOJ and went after Republicans. Then lead up to 2024, they were saying, "Oh, Trump's just going to use, he's going to weaponize the DOJ," right? And so Trump gets in, and now what are they saying for the midterms in 2028? Oh, we're going to weaponize the DOJ to go after them. You had Susan Rice out there saying, "Oh, when we're in charge again, oh, we're going after the corporations that bent the knee to Trump. She said it. We played the video of the Raging Cajun like a couple weeks ago where he said the same stuff. You know, and I think they were both saying it to gin up the anger, because a lot of Democrats vote when they get really angry. So the Democrats, like Democrat voters, get angry when their politicians make them angry. You know, oh, a Republican racist. They called you this and that. Yeah. I mean, they do it all the time. So now they're trying to gin them up by saying, hey, you want us to go after Trump? You elect us. We'll go after Trump. Yeah, and everybody that had anything to do with it, whoever bent the knee, that's what they're doing. And it's just wrong. It's just effing wrong.
It's TDS.
You can drone weddings when you're president. Yeah, it's true. You can. He did. He droned a wedding. Yeah. And he killed an American citizen and his son with a drone who were never even charged with anything. I think they were in Afghanistan at the time. They were never even charged with anything. And he drone killed. They were American citizens. No one ever talks about that.
Did he ever say oops?
No, he never even said oops. Hey, guys, do me a favor. Hit that like button if you haven't already. It really helps us. I appreciate it.
Yep, it's about that time.
Yeah, we got 12. Nice. Yeah, it's about that time, guys. We did 3 full hours. Thank you very much, guys, for being here. I know you guys could be anywhere on a Friday night, Saturday morning, wherever, depending where you're at. You know, we love you guys very much. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for listening to me bloviate on all these stories and listen to Dr. J chime in as well. We will see you next week. I'm thinking I might put a poll out. I'm thinking more live streams during the week, like an hour during the week than videos. Like
instead of Friday?
No, I'll do Friday all the time. But I'm thinking instead of doing the videos during the week like I do, I'm going to do live streams because I could read live news and it'd be more up to date instead of reading stuff that, you know, by the time I'm able to do it, everybody's saturated that news cycle already. So it's something I've been thinking about. Let's see. So I might put a poll out and ask what people think. So, all right. Thanks, guys, very much. We'll see you later. Have a great weekend. Love to all. See you next week. Bye.